in the misty highlands, out by the purple islands, brave are the hearts that beat beneath Greyhawk skies. Wild are the beasts that meet you, fight, oh they will defeat you. Fearsome and terrible are the dragon's eyes. Towering gallant fame, Greyhawk, the first great name. High may your proud standards gloriously wave. Land of the high endeavor, land of the jewel river, land of the hearts forever, Greyhawk the brave. Land of the hearts forever, Greyhawk the brave.
In the late 1970s, as Gary Gygax was creating Dungeons and Dragons, he was also creating a world. The world of Greyhawk. A world where wicked kingdoms threatened fragile peace, guarded by noble realms. Where ancient demigods vie for power over the mortal world. Where age-old orders threaten all of existence with apocalyptic cataclysms from a time of doom and legend. Against that tide of evil stands the Citadel, 6 adventurers supernaturally bound to legendary heroes of the past, and each with their own quest in the present. Alessa Amodovar, a pure-blood Sul and a refugee from the treacherous Scarlet Brotherhood. This pale, petite wizard guards the secret of a magical apocalypse. Merrick Saywolf, after losing his village and his fiancée to agents of the cult of Vecna, the towering blood hunter has made a pact he may yet regret with an infamous witch. Nilly Elara, the daughter of famous half-elven minstrels who covertly spy for the elven realms. The songs of this young bard are as legendary as her colorful language and impulsive temper. Luciano Venturi, a cleric of Olidamara with a prodigious tolerance for alcohol, who carries the key to an arcane apparatus said to possess the power to imprison gods. Elara and Kalic Kelm, one elf, one half-elf, both raised by their elven father in a traveling circus. The rogue and ranger siblings now seek their own fortune, as well as the mothers they never knew. Together, they roll dice and role-play to shape the future of this wild and magical world. Together, they return to where it all began. Return to Greyhawk.
Heart or a balloon?
These are my wonderfully mature friends. Back with us for another adventure in Greyhawk. I hope you guys enjoyed the opening music. That is courtesy of the Bards of Greyhawk. I'm not savvy enough to give you a link in our Twitch feed, but if you go to Twitter and look for Bards of Greyhawk, Google them. They've got a lot of awesome music. Welcome to Return to Greyhawk, the game that takes place in Dungeons & Dragons' original game world, the one birthed by D&D creator Gary Gygax, the World of Greyhawk. In our campaign, we take the characters, settings, and scenarios that made Dungeons & Dragons a worldwide phenomenon back in the 80s and reimagine them for players using 5th edition, now in 2017. I have to warn everybody, this has been a particularly crude pre-show gathering, so definitely...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Definitely watch the maturity settings.
I can't get over that. Did you say 2017? Or did you say 2018?
Oh my gosh, I said 2017. I'm not used to it.
You know what year it is.
Yeah, it's going to be like 6 months before I actually get 2018. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. If you would, please follow us because we don't want you to miss anything. And also check out our credits to find that list of amazing artists who have partnered with us to make the show look and sound fantastic. Check out their websites, support them on Patreon. I do. Let's begin. Previously, on Return to Greyhawk, on a mission to rescue Nilly's parents from wherever they're being imprisoned in the dread city of Dorakka, the Citadel arrived on the outskirts of the blighted, toxic, evil lands that are the Empire of Use. Having learned the lesson to avoid the Road of Skulls and its magical defenses at all costs, our heroes made their way cross-country to Grunland, a sad backwater fishing port, fishing port on the northern shore. Let's have that music loud, shall we? On the northern shore of Wystil Lake. Bypassing the crumbling keep that overlooks the village, they made their way to the docks in search of passage to Dorakka. And along the way, they discovered that their disguises are quite effective. To remind you, Luciano and Alessa are dressed as members of the Boneheart and Bone Shadow, respectively, the orders of priests and mages that rule under Use himself. And all whom they encountered cowered in fear. Kalic was convincing enough as a wealthy merchant from Ket. Nilly and Elara, disguised as drow priestesses, garnered many lustful leers, but no suspicious stares. And Merrick, in the form of a massive orc war chief, fit right into the local population. At the docks, they found the Black Eye, a cargo ship bound for Dorakka. It is a frightening wreck, hardly seaworthy, and captained by Gut, an impeccably dressed goblin with an undead guard dog named Bones. Kalic purchased a night's stay for the party in the captain's quarters, while Alessa and Luciano brazenly just walked aboard, unnoticed. Gut left them there for the night, leaving to get permission for their passage from the captain in the keep, and said that they would depart just after dawn. Ever restless, Nilly required Merrick to explore the empty ship, where they found nothing but mold, rats, crates of rusted forks, and a disturbing tentacled creature lurking in the depths of the flooded lower deck of the ship. Thus begins Episode 6, The Slithering Sea.
We also, let me just say, we also found Merrick's bad attitude and unwillingness to play along with the giant sea creature. He sounded very grumpy, and Nilly will hold that against him for the next 4 sessions.
At this point, how do you keep track of your grudges? Do you have like an Excel spreadsheet, maybe?
That's a great question, Travis.
Nilly's grudges sit on like a...
It's a tiered scale, you know?
Yes.
And it's like how many sessions she'll be mad at you for.
It's like 1 fork, 2 fork, 3 fork.
And right now, Travis, Luciano, is kind of like on a perpetual tier 1.
Fork. Perpetual fork.
He's on full fork. He's totally forked.
No, he's an entire cutlery set.
Who knows how long?
All right, let's change this music to something appropriate for Dorakka.
Is that tentacle creature still alive by chance? Because I might have missed hour.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is alive and fairly active.
Elara is lonely.
All
It's
right.
like Elara camped out in a cabin and was reading the journal that she had someplace. So I don't know if I heard the tentacle creature.
No, you didn't. It was way below decks.
Okay.
All right, so let's move to the ship. So, it is late evening now. You have been left alone. Nilly has explored the ship and come back to tell you that you do not sleep on this rickety vessel alone. As I remember, you were all about to settle in for the evening.
That's right. Nilly was taking the first watch.
So you guys had already settled in for the evening, and like you're going to sleep.
Elara is not going to sleep. Just for the record, she's gonna light a little candle in the room with that safe there and read the book that she has, but she's going to do this away from her brother.
And her brother is he's not very swift, and so he's probably not going to notice that you're staying up all night reading. Is that how it works?
I figured he was tired. Kalic is probably sleepy, but I don't know that he's like dull.
Okay.
Maybe she'll wait till he goes to bed. Falls asleep.
Well, as you open this journal, reading by candlelight as everybody else lies there softly breathing, you hear strange bumps, thumps, and splashes from somewhere deep below you. And this is fantastic music for this journal. The first page of the journal, as you open it, it starts with, "To my Eloina Larun," which you recognize as Elvish. It doesn't really translate well into the common tongue. It's more like, "To my savior baby," or "To my little baby who saved me." And you read the first page. It says, "I write this not in hopes that you will someday read it. You are lost to me, as you should be. Instead, I write for myself as an exercise in clarity, to further wrap my arms around the peace you have granted me, the peace I never dreamt I would know. And though you will never read these words, I write to you, for to this day I never feel as strong and as sure as when I set my heart on you. My love for you has set me free." And you continue to page through this journal, reading voraciously, and you find that the harvester, whose name is Clarissa, uses this journal to go on and tell her story. And she says that from the time she was a child, growing up in Ket, she had an insatiable passion for arcane objects. She trained in wizardry when other little girls were still playing with dolls, and all of her focus was bent on the enchanting of objects and the acquiring of magical items and arcane components. And as she grew into a young woman, her obsession took her to some very dark places. And it was in one of those places, a shaman's hut deep within the dark Amedio jungle, that she found the first of the gems. She writes, "As I took the black crystal into the palm of my hand, a numbing cold lanced through my heart, paralyzing my limbs. I stared deep into the stone, down through bottomless time and spiraling nothingness, falling deeper and deeper into numbing oblivion, dying, dying, dying." She learned from the shaman that this dark gem was one of 333, and that collectively they are a key that unlocks an otherworldly prison in which a dark god has been held since before time began, a force so malignantly powerful that he gave birth to the Abyss, a being so bent on the annihilation of all things that both good and evil deities sometime in prehistory banded together and in an act of self-preservation imprisoned him. She writes, "Because of his imprisonment beyond time, few know of his existence, and those who do call him by many names: the Dark God, the Black Sun, the Patient One, the Ender, the Undoer, the Eater of Worlds, and most commonly the Chained God. But those poor souls who know him as I do know that he has another name, one that I will neither speak nor put in writing." She goes on to write that, gripped by an instantaneous mad desire for the stone, she slew the shaman and took it. And then she spent like the better part of a year just brooding over this black gem, obsessed by it. And then finally she cried out to this dark god and offered up her soul, if only he would empower her to seek the stones and set him free. And she writes, "In that dread moment I was flooded with his dark power, with his complete malignancy. For an instant I was exultant. But then madness came, my sanity shattering like precious crystal against a perfect high note of evil. For a true knowledge of the chained god is more than human consciousness can bear." So she goes on to describe the passage of the next 10 years as living hell, She's totally consumed by her obsession for her quest, and all the while haunted by these accusing voices and gruesome apparitions born of her shattered mind and the toxic influence of, I think I heard, the chained god. Her pursuit drove her to the far ends of Oerth, to distant lands across dark seas, realms unknown to any in the Flanaess, and the chained god led her true, held up his part of the bargain. She eventually succeeded in collecting well over 200 of the gems, leaving behind her, of course, a litany of cruelties and perversions and even more unspeakable acts. And it was in this dark period that she met Kalic's father. She writes, "Despite the fell voices and dark passions that gripped my mind, I have always hungered for more benign diversions, perhaps as a salve to my ravaged heart. In Rel Astra, on a whim, I attended a circus. The elf acrobat was purely delicious. Conveniently, I was in need of elven blood for a potion. I spent the night in his tent. When I left him the next morning, he was spent, bruised, and a pint low on blood, but charmingly happy. I had fully intended to have my way with him and then kill him to acquire the blood that I needed, but when I drew my blade, he became all the more aroused.
Our dad is gross.
Little did he know that his penchant for dangerous sex saved his life that night." So she goes on to write that this was not the first time that she had become pregnant. In fact, it was quite common, a product of her debauched lifestyle driven by insanity. However, her pregnancies always ended after just a few months, with the babies being born as twisted, monstrous creatures, palpably evil, and she hoped that one might survive, as it would be a terrifying weapon, but they never lasted long. Until this one. It was a strange pregnancy. She felt uneasy the whole time, almost fearing the child growing within her, and the voices in her head had never been louder, seeming almost frantic now. They called incessantly for the child to be sacrificed, and she fully intended to comply with their demands. She went through labor alone, with a brazier of hot coals beside her and a black dagger clutched in her hand, eager to make her offering to the chained god. She writes, "I shrieked with the pain of one final effort, and there you were. You were perfect, flawless, your wide green eyes calmly scanning your new world, and then you saw me, and I know it's not possible, it's simply not possible, but it sounded like you laughed. The dagger fell from my hand, and I snatched you up, holding you to my chest. Before I knew what was happening, you were nursing, making soft little sounds so beautiful that I wept for the first time in years beyond counting. I cradled you there through the night, and eventually I must have slept. The next thing I knew, warm sunlight was pouring through the window, and you were staring up at me. I couldn't help but smile, and then I gasped, for at that moment I realized that the voices were gone." And unfortunately, the voices didn't stay gone. She writes that the dark god began to pursue her in her sleep, with the voices growing stronger, until one morning she awoke with her hands around the baby's throat, with his face blue and his eyes staring sightlessly. She screamed, and as she released the baby, he suddenly gasped and began to cry. She clutched him to her chest and wept again, because she knew she could not keep him. For once, either luck or fate was with her. The circus was again in town. She left the baby with the elven acrobat, who wasn't nearly as shocked as she might have guessed, as a young elven girl with beautiful red tresses cradled the baby in her arms. Clarissa thought that perhaps this was not the first time that someone had left a baby in his tent. Of course, she was devastated, and in her grief, the voices began to grow more and more powerful. But she had tasted freedom, and more than that, she tasted joy. She was determined to be set free. She paid a high priestess of Heronius a small fortune to perform an exorcism of sorts. The ritual nearly killed them both, but finally the voices were truly gone, her sanity fully restored. But she knew that that did not qualify her to reclaim her son. She had made a terrible, irrevocable bargain, and her soul still belonged to the chained god. The final words of the journal read, "My baby boy, this will be my last entry in this journal. Tomorrow I will likely either be dead or on my way to find you and spend the remainder of my days in your presence. I have acquired a powerful artifact of pernicious magic, a deck of cards that contain the most powerful boons and banes imaginable. From my research, I know that somewhere in those cards lie a wish. Should I draw that card, I will wish for my freedom from the chained god, the end to our bargain, the return of my soul. It's just as likely that I might draw from the deck an equally terrible fate. But I must try. Should the deck kill me, I have prepared a phylactery of sorts to contain my soul. I would sooner spend eternity in a jar than in the embrace of absolute evil. But of course, it is my hope that I will soon look upon your beautiful face once again. I've never been so frightened in all my life. I begin drawing cards at sunset. I love you, my Aloinia Laroon." And the date of that entry was the day that you all met the Harvester in Greyhawk.
What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The date of that entry was the date that you all met the Harvester in Greyhawk.
Okay.
Which in game time would have been how long ago?
Just over 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 days. Wow.
Okay.
So,
Because you spent
Laura's
2
got a lot
weeks.
of shit going on in her head right now. First of all, just let me tell you what she's thinking. She wants to get that bitch out of the phylactery. Oh my fucking gosh. Well, I can't even try it. Wants to get out of her jar.
Phylactery.
Thank you. And kill her for wanting to sacrifice her little brother. Because that's a bitchy thing to do. I want to kill her. But I also am very concerned about my brother being, like, searched for by a god as, you know, his property or something like that. I want to know where these gems are, what's going on with that. There's just so much. But I think that Elara does not want to tell her little brother this right now. Absolutely petrified for him. And needs to digest things and perhaps talk to somebody else about it, but not her brother.
I see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Poor guys. Everybody, I'm putting this in a handout for everybody if you would like to peruse at some later time, because it is fairly lore rich. I recognize that's a lot of stuff. But you've got it.
Did you?
Thank you.
You are clipping a little bit.
Am I clipping now?
Quite a bit.
I am clipping quite a bit right now.
As you say those words, they are not clipping at all, but...
All right, let me turn down
Dur-
my mic.
During the read of the journal, you were clipping in and out quite a bit.
Oh, awesome. Clipping in and out, or do you mean like my audio was...
It's like moments
No,
of
so-
silence.
Like it's like a bad Japanese when you have to go, and you know it's like a.
What is the problem with this mic? I'm gonna have to get a new mic.
This mic is just fine.
It's the same mic.
So this mic is pretty good.
Dang it. Oh well.
That's a Travis, not a mic.
So, Elara, you're going to, at this point, it's halfway through the night. It was a lot of reading.
It was, but I kinda, do I know where, I always fucking say the name wrong, and I apologize, May. Alesa?
Yes.
I always, okay. Do I know where she's sleeping?
Yeah, you're all right there in the same room.
Oh, alright. I
Let me
need
put
to
that
wake her up,
back.
but I think I kinda need to talk to her. I feel like we have this trust going, I've told her a lot.
So you're going to roust her from a sound sleep and go talk to her.
Yeah, I
Okay.
am. I mean, elves don't need sleep. She's not an elf, but I don't get the concept of sleep, so. Alesa? Friend,
Snoring a little bit.
please, this is important. It has to do with my brother.
What? What?
So-
Elara?
Yes, but I don't want to wake my brother.
Okay.
I found out some information that's quite disturbing. Have you ever heard of the Unchained God?
Can I roll for that?
You certainly can. Let me put you on a screen where you can roll. Okay.
And what would you like me to roll?
Let's do a religion check.
Okay. Gotta find it. It is right there. +3.
Okay, so why do you get +3?
My lore mastery doubles my proficiency.
Fantastic. So when you hear the chained god, you can't be certain, but you believe that this may be a god that is fairly commonly worshipped by a splinter group of the Scarlet Brotherhood. The Scarlet Brotherhood as a whole, of course, their goal is just sort of racial supremacy, ethnic cleansing, domination of that sort, resuming their rightful place as the superior race. But this one particular splinter group, they just want the annihilation of all things. And you're not really sure how that's supposed to work out for them, because that seems like kind of a bad call. But you're not really sure, like, the specifics. What you have heard before is you have not heard of the chained god, but you have heard of the Eater of Worlds and the name Thorisdun.
Thorisdun?
Thorisdun. I'll put it in chat so that...
Thor is done.
Well,
He's a really bad god.
I have heard the Eater of Worlds before. You mentioned that name. There's some speakings to it in the Scarlet Brotherhood, but I don't have a clear recollection of what that would be.
Well, it's not good. My brother's mother, she left the Harvester. She left a journal, and I just read it. And it seems she was an agent to this god, or tried to escape him. And she was a vampire, and she sucked my father's blood, and she tried to kill my brother, and it's terrible. And there's black stone, she's trying to release the god, but I think my brother's in danger. That this god could be watching him.
All of that sounds awful.
Same.
I'm sorry.
And I don't want to tell him.
I probably wouldn't tell him yet. He probably should know, but this might be a bad time.
Yes, especially here, and I probably shouldn't even say the god's name in this area. I mean, somebody's probably hearing me and watching me, and I'm just all paranoid because of my brother, and I don't want anything to happen to him.
Calm down. You're getting louder. You'll wake him up.
Can I hear them panicking as I wait by the door?
If you are there, I'm going to trust that they're trying to be quiet enough not to wake people. But if you, Nilly, are standing at the door listening, then I'll give you a perception check.
Okay,
to see whether you hear whispers. They're whispering. Oh yeah, give me some brown eye, little kitty cat.
Oh shit! No balloon hole for the camera.
Don't ever say that again, Shane.
That cat, I just feel like I know that cat in a
Listen,
biblical
you guys
sense.
gave
It's
me
very disturbing.
cattiness, and I couldn't roll well. I deserve a reroll.
Good job. Good job, Bubble.
Yeah. What you do hear, Nilly, is just sloshing. And every few minutes you hear, and then the splash. It basically sounds like someone stomped on a small creature and it gave a brief death squeal before getting sucked into the water.
I hate this place. I hate this boat. Take me back home.
I'm sure you won't be on it long.
Okay, Shane.
It's just a 3-day journey to Dorakka.
Right, because we make 3 days go by really fast.
Yes. Yes. Anyway, back to your conversation. Anything that you guys are going to do or continue?
may I give you this journal and you read it? But I don't want everybody to know. I feel that the more people that know, it will put him in danger, perhaps. I don't know.
I will read it if you'd like, see if I understand any more of it, and I'll keep it safe for you.
Just one favor, if you will.
Yes.
I don't think that my dad had dirty sex when he made me, so just think of me a little better than my brother, please. And she gives her a wink and goes back to her bed.
Alicia has never blushed before, but she is quite pinkish from her pale visage.
And your blush is actually quite stark on your alabaster face. You look almost painted. All right. So
I think Elara is definitely good person.
Alyssa, May, really enjoy like the serious role play and everything, but it's really hard to be serious about it with Doge like over your shoulder in your ear.
I love it.
I wasn't complaining. Oh, look, you've got your white dragon on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He's a little bit bigger. He's in the future.
So, okay, so...
Any further conversation?
What's that?
Any further conversation?
Elara.
Did you say not for Elara?
Yes, no.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so...
Elara's a little flushed herself.
Yes, clearly.
I want the opportunity to lawyer, if I may please, the court.
You're sleeping. What can you lawyer?
Okay, so one, that's what we're going to find out for a second. Looking at the back of the ship, see where I'm at, see where Alyssa is at. Like, I am within 5 feet almost, like 7 feet from them. So, is that where they were having the conversation? Was where they're at on the ship? There?
I'm assuming that one of them approached the other. I would assume that, though she did not move her token, that it would be, let me move her, that Elara would have moved to her. There we go.
To wake me up.
And in that proximity, there wouldn't be a role for me to wake up?
Well, here's what I'll do for you. The conversation is over. So we're not going to go back and rewrite history if you wanted to...
No, I just want to know if I had the opportunity to eavesdrop on any of it.
For you, I would give you a perception check in your sleep, which is a weird roll, but I don't know.
Well, I mean...
Even in your sleep, you
like,
perceive that something's going on.
Not like in my sleep, but like if they would have woke me up, because
right.
She got a little loud.
She did, so I'll give you this roll.
So all he caught was, I hope my dad didn't have dirty sex while making me.
Yes.
Oh, that might be the only thing I caught. We'll
Please
out.
a wink.
Oh, wait a minute. No, don't count that. That was just a D20. I need to get my character sheet. My bad. That's perception. Perception, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I should have stuck with that other one.
Oh. So, I will say that you woke up and heard precisely that.
Yeah. That's great.
And
That's great.
But that does tell you that in the middle of the night they were having a conversation. That is the information that you have.
But I'm seriously disturbed. Like Luciano's over here laying, he's just wide-eyed. They're just laying there now. They just...
Fantastic. Yeah, we do have that maturity rating on the channel, right? We did get that in place.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, good. That's
Luciano
important.
just shifted uncomfortably in his sleep.
Had to adjust himself a little.
Fantastic. So at this point, is everyone who is awake going to go on to sleep?
Is my watch over? Can I go to sleep?
Yeah, we'll say that all took place in your watch, and you can go choose to wake somebody up and go yourself to sleep.
So the only person I wasn't irritated with for that was Elara, because Elara wasn't around to irritate me. So I will go over to Elara, where she is probably not asleep.
She's probably just going.
Just breathing weirdly, like, oh god.
And it would be like a every now and then.
Yeah, she's gonna walk, because you're on the bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna go to the bed and be like, Elara! Elara! Elara!
Yes.
Can you do watch next? If I have to talk to anyone, I'm going to stab them in the throat.
That might be entertaining, but of course it's really. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's nice and
And
warm.
She's just gonna plop down on this, like, the very small bed, like in an uncomfortably close fashion to her, and just close her eyes grumpily and cross her arms.
Uncomfortably close to whom?
Elara,
Okay.
just to add to her night of discomfort.
So I think that Elara will kiss Nilly on the forehead and then go out.
Okay. So you guys can move your tokens appropriately, please.
Okay.
So I'm going to hop, unless somebody has an objection, I'm going to move through the night. Some of you went to sleep before the journal and the conversation. Many of you got interrupted in your sleep for various reasons to hear about sordid escapades. And some of you got awakened to take a watch in the night, but all of you did sleep. So I don't think anybody needs to replenish anything, but if you do, you can consider that a long rest. But additionally, you all had bad dreams. Like throughout the night, you had very sensorily rich dreams. You smelled something fishy, some sort of fishy flesh. You felt frequently tentacles slide across you. And throughout the night, you dreamt of being deep in dark waters and a massive form sliding past you in the waters, tentacles reaching out to touch you. And then your dream would go off somewhere else, but it would always come back there. And whenever it would go back to that dream, you would feel it so viscerally. It was an incredibly sensorily rich dream. And that took you all through the night. So, it is there through the window at the back of the ship. There's no light coming in, but you all start to hear and hear muted conversations from above, barking conversation, hissy kinds of conversation, and a hell of a lot of activity. Just happens real suddenly. And let's say Elara finished her watch. Who did you pick to be awake?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna pick my little brother here.
Would that wake me up? Any of that loud noises?
Oh, yeah, it wakes you all up.
Okay, I was gonna say
So
I'd be a light sleeper on this boat, I think.
Yeah, you while you may not hear two women whispering to one another in the dark, this cannot be missed. And as you're all jolted out of your sleep, you very quickly begin to hear footsteps coming down, and you hear like things slamming and bumping and beating around. So I'm going to take you to, are you going to stay in this room?
I'm gonna hold my sword, which I was holding all night.
Nilly's gonna go out there.
Like, what the heck? What in the wide world of sports is going on?
Nilly ain't playing around with all this badass fucking loud ass noise. She's going out there.
I'm gonna be right next to her.
My clipping is getting worse. This is very frustrating. Is everybody experiencing that?
Yes, I couldn't hear what you said. What I heard.
Wow, I don't really know what to do about this. I don't have another mic. I mean, I guess I could go back to a headset. We could take a break and I could go to a headset mic. Am I pretty clear right now?
Right now.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get
It's only when you're telling us something really important.
And it goes.
Fantastic. So, like, for a 10-minute story, you guys heard, like, half of it.
Yeah, like at a point where we can't interrupt you. Like
right
that's
now.
when it'll go wrong.
Fantastic. Okay. It's going to be very interesting to check the recording and see if it's only a problem through Discord. I don't know.
Because chat said that they could hear you, that you weren't breaking up.
Oh, great. So it may be a Discord problem. I don't know. Fantastic. Anyway, at the first break, I'm going to go to a headset mic and see if it gets any better.
So you didn't just hear a thing you said.
He said, at the first break, I'm going to blah, 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 blah.
At the first
What I just
break?
heard is we're taking our first break right now, so he
Yeah.
can fix it.
I am so sorry, guys. We're going to take our first break right
No
now.
worries.
That's fine.
Because I
Because
apparently need
I don't want
to
to miss the story.
go to a headset mic. So, fantastic. Anyway, thanks, folks. Players, if you'd hop down into the lower channel, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and good night. Okay, so where we left it, everybody was leaving the private captain's quarters of Gut and coming out to the dock where... Oh, still missing Danny on Skype. Yeah, awesome.
Spinning.
We can hear her.
Okay.
She's figuring out her camera. So
And
we
it
can-
didn't
No, I
mess up
thought
our
it was all
windows too
set, and
bad.
apparently... Wait, it's coming on.
Danny.
All right, it should be on. Okay.
Danny Crockett.
I should be in. My camera's lit up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so as everyone comes out onto the deck, what you
Not
see,
everyone.
whoever comes out onto the deck,
Yeah, I'm not going out on the deck.
will see that there are many creatures that are vigorously active, loading the ship. So they're bringing in huge boxes and barrels. The ogre and the troll are doing the heavy lifting, but then there's an orc and a bugbear that are going back and forth, taking things below deck. And there's a huge amount of hubbub as they load the ship. And you can see that off to the side, the little piggies have just fallen asleep, and they're just lying there on the corpse on which they gorged the morning before. But lots and lots of stuff is being loaded into the ship. Pretty much the way Gut said that they would people would show up and begin loading the ship before dawn. So who is going out and who is staying in?
If my brother went out, I am going to go out too.
Nilly confidently walks out and looks around to see if she can find the captain.
Why am I having trouble moving my token? What's the trick?
I don't know. I think that's just the way our night's going to go.
I'm clicking on it. Okay, wait. I think I got it.
If you need, I can move it for you.
All right, we got it.
Lucy and I are staying in the cabin.
Okay. So everyone who is loading the ship takes note of you, and this one character who's got great big horns sprouting from his head. You're not even sure what kind of creature he is. Comes up to you and says, "What are you doing in the captain's quarters?" And he turns back over his shoulder and goes, "Aye!" And another guy comes up as well, eyeing you all suspiciously. And he says, the first one with horns turns to the other one and says, I found them in the captain's quarters. What do you think we should do with them?" And the big guy, the other guy, this guy says, "Well, let's discuss it." He takes him back in the corner, and the guy with big horns looks at you, looks back at the guy, and says, "You don't go nowhere," and then staggers back to talk to his friend.
Lisa's actively listening through the door, or trying to.
I would say that anything that happens right there where that group of people is would be something that you could hear.
Lucio is not, and he's at the back window drinking some of his wine.
Nilly pulls her whip out, and she just kind of lets it hang, kind of like bobbing back and forth.
So
playfully.
You see these guys. You can't understand what they're saying. They keep looking back at you
Shane,
guys.
what language are they speaking?
They're speaking. Let me see what they're speaking. They have so many different. They're speaking bugbear.
You picked one I can't understand.
I worked really hard for that. Yeah, I consulted your character sheet as I was putting them in.
Good. I'm glad.
And then after a few minutes of wild gesticulation and conversation with one another, the one with horns comes back and says, "Look, you, I'm going to need you to stay right here. Don't leave the boat."
We have no intention to.
Nilly kind of like raises up, like almost like a scowl mixed with a smile, and says, "We are guests of the captain. You have no say on where we stand on this ship."
Let's have an intimidation check.
Fuck. Nilly is not a bit. I don't think I have anything in
It's
Nilly
charisma
might not be
based.
intimidating, but
You should have something in intimidation.
Oh,
You've
no,
got lots of
actually,
forks.
that's one of my skills.
Will she get
Yeah,
advantage
baby.
with a whip?
Oh, you know what? I have a +7. I only got a 13 on that.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
So the guy goes, and he looks at you, looks at the others, and he goes, "Might be so. Might be so. But Koric doesn't know. So Koric needs you to wait. So we check with the captain. Good, we'll say. And should I have made a bad choice, I ask merely that you put yourself in my shoes." And he takes a little step back and leans against the great mast and just stands there, kind of looking at you, but frequently looking down.
Nilly just says, "When you are incorrect, you will owe me an apology."
Might be so. Might be so. So while this has been going on, this guy has run off and just gone away. But in the meantime, the orc, the troll, and the ogre continue to load the boat. I can't put the tokens on that show all of the activity, but Theater of the Mind, they are cramming this ship full of boxes, barrels, lots of different kinds of barrels, crates that have chickens in them. Actually, there are even some crates that appear to have some sort of a red fruit in it. And they just keep coming and coming and coming in a line back and forth down the docks. Anyone going to do anything?
He said stay.
Can I
Yes.
find a place to hide, like behind these crates over here? Like just find a good vantage point that I wouldn't be seen.
Where is
in
that?
case shit goes down. Over on the right-hand side, like where Nilly is, there's some crates stacked up. Can I kind of cram myself in there?
As soon as you begin to move, I mean, you're right there in front of the guy who's doing nothing but looking at
but
you.
watching us. Yeah, that would make some fucking sense, huh?
And so as soon as you start to move, he kind of goes,
Quick, throw a rock.
He clearly doesn't like the fact that you're moving, but you haven't moved far enough that he's going to stop you, apparently.
Move and stare at him.
So, as you guys get a little bit more spread out, he seems to be growing more anxious as he can't see you all at the same time.
What is that
I wish I just had a
Below
scum
deck.
mirror image.
Let me get what Merrick just asked. So you're asking the guy with horns that question?
Yes.
I don't rightly know. I don't sail on the ship. I just load it. I just work the docks.
Have you heard of anything below decks? Any rumors?
All the cargo ships have the rats and molds and a squirmer too.
A squirmer.
Yes, it's a water beast. It squirms. It's a squirmer.
Let's see. What did they have these for in these boats?
I don't know.
All right. I take a step back.
You are clearly pushing at the limit of his intelligence. I mean, he's right up against his mental limits, apparently. I turn this music up just a smidge. Okay, anybody else doing anything as they continue to load the boat?
I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can fuck with them at all.
Would I actually know what that thing is when he says it's a squirmer?
I do.
Did you actually see it? Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah.
I think you already did a check, if memory serves, last time.
But now that he put a name to it, would I know what it is?
I would give you a check at disadvantage if you would like to do a survival check. Because that's not a heck of a lot of additional information. Fantastic. You have heard that the northern part of Wystell Lake is called the Slithering Sea. And you're not exactly sure why, but the coincidence of having a squirmer in the bottom of the boat and heading into the Slithering Sea, maybe there's a connection?
Would I know the connection being wise but not intelligent?
No, you don't know the connection. Okay. That's all I can give you, even with a 24.
Okay.
Okay, so I assume you guys are just going to stand there and wait for the next... Until you're told to not wait, is that correct?
I'm still thinking...
Kalic is sitting.
Nilly wants to do some shit.
Kalic is sitting on the stairs next to the entrance to the captain's cabin, and he's turning one of the coins from that pouch between his fingers. Just waiting.
The gleam definitely catches his eyes. If you guys are going to sit there for at least the next 5 minutes, I'm assuming.
Sure, fuck it, I'll be good for now.
I wasn't lobbying for good behavior.
Everybody heard that, right?
Yes.
Everybody heard her say that.
I'll be good for now. This
What?
is the now. 30 seconds from now, we'll see. But
Okay.
right now. Danny's counting down from when I start some shit.
So you do notice that down through the city streets, there comes a group of creatures. You certainly notice Gut in the lead. Beside him, talking with him, is a... Why is his size not right? Come on, let's make his size right. There we go. There is a huge creature that may be an orc, but it's definitely, if it's an orc, it's definitely the largest orc you've ever seen. Need to move them a little bit further down so they actually show up in the window here.
Super orc.
So he's huge and is followed by a number of other semi-human creatures. But what catches your eye as they come down the dock is that in the back row, two goblins, they appear, of fairly exceptional size, are flanking a drow female.
Fuck.
Oh.
She has her hands behind her, and her head is she's got long, sort of silvery black hair, and her head is held high, and she's smiling. As
Now, does she look? She looks
looks
sexier than we do, like outfit-wise.
in terms of outfit, she's dressed in what appears to be entirely black leather. There are some metal studs across the shoulder, and she has a long, like, floor-length gray cape and short boots. But she's basically going for the all-black ninja look. And yeah, she is extremely attractive.
You did say she's a drow?
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, I'm debating on whether she's higher in rank than us or not. Can I do like an insight based on the way she's walking? Can I try? I don't have any intellect, but can I try?
Yeah.
Insight, right? That would be insight?
Yeah.
Please just roll high for once. Okay, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad. One thing that you notice as they come to the gangplank, Gut and the giant orc stop. The guy behind them, he looks sort of orcish, but he's got bright red skin, and he's not an orc, and he's dressed in full plate, and he's got a sword. He's got his hand on a big two-handed sword, and when Gut and the big orc in front stop, he stops in a very militaristic fashion, and the goblins each reach out and touch the drow woman and stop her, and they keep their hands on her.
I'd like to do a...
So you notice that it's interesting the way those goblins have their hands on her. It doesn't appear to be friendly.
She's a captain.
She's being held.
So,
could I do an insight check and also a check on what these two creatures are? I'm guessing a mole or whatever it is, this goblin.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead.
I want to do an insight check on just the body language.
Okay.
Of the people, and then I want to do a check on to see if I know who they are. So I'm guessing insight and survival.
Yes.
Okay, and I took my glasses off. Nice.
Wow. So apparently, if you guys get into combat today, Merrick goes in front. Because
Merrick always goes in front.
The luck of the dice with him. So you can tell that the guy in front, it's not really hard to figure out. He's a hobgoblin. So larger than a goblin, a little smaller than an orc typically, but this appears to be an exceptional character. And you can tell that this is a soldier or some sort of guard. He has a very militaristic. He carries himself like a soldier.
Will I know what race he is, or like?
Yeah, he's a hobgoblin, and the two behind are goblins, although a little bit bigger than your typical goblins.
All right, and I would know anything about the drow race.
She's drow.
I wouldn't know anything about their insignia that they wear on them, or
I'm ready for this.
Any of that.
No, nothing jumps out at you.
Okay, and the insight check. Do I notice that?
That was the insight, the part about the purportment of a soldier, and you think he's some sort of soldier or guard or bodyguard or something like that.
So how what I was wanting to know is how they're coming at us, or how they're coming to the boat. Does it look like they're aggressive or not?
They don't appear to be, no.
Okay.
So after a moment, these two in the front have a beat of conversation. Then the big one moves back and talks to the drow, and Gut makes his way onto the boat and approaches you guys back at the captain's quarters.
Just look on the boat.
Oh, I'm so ready. Oh.
Where did my music go? Oh, it's a new one starting. Okay. So, then Gut makes his way down, and this guy with horns turns to him and says,
I found these. They were in your quarters, and I told them to wait. And Gut says, "Yes, thank you so much. If you would go back to loading, my dear friend, there with me." And the horned guy looks at him for just a beat longer like, am I in trouble? But the goblin is looking at you guys, and so the horned guy just does one of these sorts of slow fades.
I say, hey, wait.
Backing out.
I think you owed the girl an apology.
Oh, no, it is... No, do not. Worry not of the help. She eagerly goes to meet with the goblin and extends her hand.
What did I just do? Okay.
That's an excellent question, Shane. We have no idea.
So, Gut does not appear quite as friendly as he did last night. But at your approach, he bows low. He does a little thing with his coattails again, so they make a little flop pop in the air, and then he smiles at you. And his teeth are the cleanest teeth that you've ever seen on any sort of semi-human, goblin, orc, any of them. They're always nasty. But this guy has got some pretty clean teeth. And he says, "My dear," and then turns to all of you, taking all of you in. "I fear that we may have some difficulty. It appears that this ship has business of a high security, and additional boarders on the ship for this journey would not be appropriate. So I must ask you to catch the next ship to Dorakka." And he looks at you guys, smiling.
I growl.
Now.
I think
Might
it's
we ask the
separate.
level of importance that cannot be met with the appropriate fine of our fine traveler?
He looks at Kalic and he says, "Your companion is exceptionally persuasive, I must say. However, this comes from the captain in the keep. Apparently there is a prisoner of great importance, and the captain does not want any additional boarders on the ship during her transport to the city."
Not even additional guards to keep her safe?
He was quite clear. Of course, you could speak to him if you wish.
Hold on.
Can I at least see the door still? Is it close enough?
Yeah, I would say so. They're not being particularly quiet. And if you're ear pressed to the crack in the door.
Just imagine, your ears are pressed to the door until they come in. Until they step in.
While the talking is going on, I'm waving Luciano to come over and listen.
Okay.
So I do.
My dear captain, I would say that my guards look to be far more capable than the ones trying to hold back your captain.
That may be true. However, it is the orders of the captain. I'm beginning to discern that perhaps I should invite him to parley with you. I am proving to be an insufficient intermediary.
Oh, you are more than capable. It is your captain that appears to not understand the situation that we're in.
If you will excuse me, I'll be right back.
As he turns to walk away, she goes, "Wait."
Yes, my dear.
She clasps her hands kind of like this. All right, out of character, guys. This is it.
Raise your hands because I can't see them.
You did?
Clasp them
Nilly's
like what?
She kind of clasps her hands like this
Ah,
at her stomach as she is about to play a trump card. I'm about to start some shit. I'm about to fuck up everyone's night.
Oh, great.
Well, we knew it was coming. We just didn't know when. Remember, we had the countdown already.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You're late!
Okay. She goes, "My dear friend, I must apologize to you now, as we may not have been as honest with you as we should have been. There is
eyebrows
more.
peak up.
There is more to our mission than bringing a lowly but wealthy human traveler from one place to another. Will you please come in? Please come in.
Would you excuse me for just one moment?
No, you must come here. It is important. It is... And she takes a step closer to him.
I don't know whether to make this intimidation or persuasion. Let's go with persuasion, because your words are more persuasive than intimidating.
I swear to God, if I crit fail, I'm turning the game off for the night.
Not a crit fail, but not good. He says, I need to let the captain know before I disappear into the cabin. I don't want them to become alarmed. It appears that last night there was a disturbance on the Road of Skulls outside the keep, and so the entire keep is on high alert right now. People are antsy.
I understand, and that is also the reason why we are boarding this ship, my friend.
So, just one moment. One moment.
Why did I alone?
So he starts to move off towards the gangplank.
Excuse me, Captain.
He stops with his back to you, and then turns. Yes.
Kalic stands and moves to him.
Okay.
Watch for the holes.
Yeah.
Might we have a word off the ship?
Well, yes. Please, feel free to come with me. So he, grab the right mouse, turns, and beckoning you to follow, approaches this group. This fairly intimidating group of people. And he addresses the guy in the full plate with the red face. And he says, Captain, this is the merchant of whom I spoke. I told him that you felt it was unsafe to have additional people on the boat. Needless to say, that was not in line with his plans. And the guy in the plate armor takes his hand from his sword and just crosses his
Kills
arms.
him. Just kills him.
No, he's already died once.
And he looks at you and says, Who are you?
Captain. And Kalic, summoning up as much courage as he has, takes a deep bow to the captain. My name is Markel. I am a merchant of some renown in the nation of Ket. I have some business in Dorakka, and this unfortunately is the only ship that appears to be leaving in a timely fashion. My guards, my personal guard, and myself will be no trouble and take up very little room. We simply need to get to Dorakka as soon as possible.
So as you're speaking,
I can certainly make it worth the captain's while, and of course you and your crew themselves.
As you're speaking, the lithe drow. I'm sorry. When I was a kid, I used to call him Dro. The drow in the back kind of peeks her head up between the massive orc and the hobgoblin, and watches Kalic with kind of a bemused smile on her face.
Does... well, let's do this. Kalic notices her looking at me, or looking at him, and Kalic raises his head from the bow and says, "Take your eyes off me, woman."
Wow.
Her eyebrows raise in a... But then she does look out over
me too.
the waters.
Same girl.
Looks out over the waters. Do a persuasion, please.
Yes, sir. Come on. Don't roll like Breed. Don't roll like Breed.
I swear to God, I had such a good plan. I had this
Just like Breed.
brain. For once, all of my brain cells were working in cohesion.
Oh,
For once
wow.
in my life. And it was like, just kidding.
For once in my life. Reposition the map there. So the hobgoblin looks at you and says, I have concerns that are far more important than coin. This prisoner is a high priority. Her presence has been requested in Dorakka at the highest levels, and I will not risk anything to get her there safely. I do not know you. I do not know the people you are here with. I will not risk sending her with an unknown element on the boat. Now please, I ask you kindly to vacate the boat so that we may disembark. And the orc, after his speech, this big orc, goes, He senses tension, and he seems to almost be aroused by it.
Me too. Same. I'm ready.
If Kalic can remember, what is the name of the religious organization that's the
blood.
The
Bone Heart and Bone Shadow?
That's it. Damn it.
Yes.
What was that? One more time.
The Bone Heart is uses Order of Priests, and the Bone Shadow is his Order of Mages.
I'd like to knock on the office.
Hold on. The first one was Bone what?
The Bone Heart is the Order of Priests.
And then
Bone Shadow is the Order of Mages, which is a slight diversion from canon, but only Greyhawk Mike knows if he's watching.
I don't think he's on right now. I think we're safe.
God.
Kalic will look down at his feet and the coin in his hand, and to the captain, to the hobgoblin, to simply say, well, the Bone Shadow and Bone Heart will be quite disappointed if I am not there on time. I have two of their group with me, and, well, they are needed.
Nilly walks up in that moment, and she puts her hand on his shoulder and go, it is all of our heads once we fail this mission, theirs included, so I suppose I must go tell our guests. This was a high secret mission that we are failing, but it is fine.
If you could tell them that, if you could make clear that the reason we cannot travel is because of this captain and his apparent prisoner, that would be fine.
Yes, I will let them know that a simple drow is the reason why.
Excuse me. You are traveling with members of the orders?
Can I knock on the door?
Kalic will
I was going to say, real quick,
Kalic will yell over his shoulder, you can come out now.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was like, going to knock on the door and be like, I think you should make an entrance.
Well, okay, real quick. Everybody look at Roll20, because I'm confused. None of you are near the door.
I am.
No, you guys can't hear.
I'm next to the door. I can see what's happening in the tension building. And I've been wanting to knock on the door behind me.
Well, yeah, but that's like 40 feet away, man. Could you even hear any of that conversation?
No, but I can observe them.
As I was turning, though, when I was saying, I'll go get them.
Actually, earlier, I could see the tension. I thought maybe it would be a good time for you guys to make your entrance. And
Either way,
I'm
walking
what I can say, everybody hold on one sec. What I can
Kalic
say,
just yelled over his shoulder.
What I can say, Josh, is that from the body language of your friends, you might sense some tension, but knocking on the door, you can't tell them anything. You haven't heard anything. You certainly are welcome to knock on the door.
I'm going to knock on the door and say, you might want to make an entrance. You might need some intimidation.
Okay, so the orc is knocking on the door.
Nilly's walking that way, so.
So let's hop into the captain's quarters for a moment. You guys know what you heard before everyone departed. Then there's been... So let's wheel back time. Any words or actions that happened between the two of you once everybody walked away?
During that time, I probably would have talked a little bit more about Varbonique and just kind of like more of just kind of like lamenting and not being able to do anything about it, but definitely expressing a lot of concern about how we left it.
Alyssa would have just ignored that and said, "Shut up and listen. Something's going to be happening. We're probably going to have to leave this room. So listen to the door."
So she's at the door, like, listening to all this, and I'm kind of there, half in, half out, pacing back and forth, like, right next to her, just, like, kind of, yeah.
After that brief snippet of conversation, you hear a strong knock at the door.
Pull your shit together, Lucy. It's time to go.
All right, I'll put my shit in a bag.
So I will stand up straight, look stern as usual, and open the door.
Okay.
And I will be standing at the window, staring out the window.
I'm going to step way to the side to show, like, reverence.
Yeah, when she comes out the door, Nilly's going to lower her head.
Same. I'm going to lower my head and show some reverence.
And under my breath, I'm going to say, "Tell them we're here on a top secret mission and you need us there. Be angry."
So,
when she emerges, Kalic drops to one knee on the dock.
Nice.
We just fall to your feet, Elisa. We just fall to you.
So,
don't get used to
it.
The
orc knocks on the door as the drow woman approaches, and as the door opens, and this diminutive woman with white hair steps out, everybody parts, Kalic kneels, and the captain says, "Ah, I see. Well, perhaps I should..." And he looks at Gut, and Gut is just going. He looks at Gut, finds no support, and says, "I suppose I should go and discuss this. Yes, I'll be back." And he turns.
Where do you think you are going?
Is that the voice he's shouting out the door?
A deep, angry.
It's like, I see you.
Okay, so all right, I need help here.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at on the map of Roll20, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm trying to understand in proximity where is everybody?
You are here.
You are here.
Alyssa yelled at you to follow her out the door.
I'm covering my brother in case things get bad.
Yeah, let me talk through spatial relationships here. So
yeah, I need to hear underneath.
I don't see. You'd know if you weren't drunk, Travis.
Underneath the floor.
I mean,
that's not how this works.
Okay, so here we go, guys. The stairs upon which Merrick and Nilly stand go up to this upper deck. So it is actually beneath this floor where the captain's quarters are. And right here where Lesa has moved forward, that is the door out of the captain's quarters onto the main deck of the ship. So at this point, everybody else is over here or near over there having a conversation just on the dock side of the gangplank.
Okay, so that's super confusing because everybody is talking like they're right next to the door. Like everybody's saying adjectives and words and things that indicate that they're right next to the door, and I'm confused in my brain.
Well,
okay, that makes sense.
Now we're clarified.
Okay.
Right on. So, but as Aleza walks out, you say, "Where are you going?"
Okay, so with that being the case, now that I understand where everything's at, I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to just briskly make my way.
In silence?
So you're going to join Alesa?
Oh no, I'm going to... Well, I don't know what Alesa's doing. I'm telling you what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
I'm going to kind of like just briskly kind of walk with my staff all the way over to here. And I'm not walking in a way that looks like brisk, like I'm trying to catch up with something. It's like I'm in command of this army and I'm headed to a meeting. Get out of my way.
Gotcha.
So one of them be behind.
And Elisa, are you going to remain where you are or follow with him?
I'm going to stay there.
Okay.
I'll stay with her.
So as the captain was saying, yes, I should go and talk with them. At that point, that's when he notices that a member of the Boneheart has exited the captain's quarters and is walking towards him. He gives just a little bit of a gesture to the big orc, and so he and the big orc switch places. And the drow in the back just continues to watch things with surprising calm. And as so the captain looks down at Kalic, and who is now kneeling, and the captain makes the decision to put his hands behind his back, sort of puff up his chest, roll back and forth on his heels and the balls of his feet, and he doesn't look stern, but he looks like he's ready to receive you, and
right,
watches silently as you approach.
I'm going to need your help with this a little bit because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say, but only you can voice it with your masterful.
That's why you have roles.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
As the Boneheart approaches, I kind of flourish my cloak and back away to make room for him to.
All right, let me move our map to reflect where we are right now. There we go. Okay, so you move back out of the way and make space.
Back up. Yep, make space for reverence there.
Fantastic. So as soon as you step up to him, this sort of posture, he goes like this. He doesn't do what Kalic does. He just gave a sort of militaristic nod bow.
I don't even acknowledge it. And what I'm going to say is I'm just going to look at him and I'm going to. Could you explain to me how it is that we spent the entire night in your cabin and we had no report, we had nobody knew of our presence? Why did this occur? And I want you to say it kind of like ululate.
Oh, you want me to say it? No,
I want you to give that but do the ululate voice so people can understand what I'm trying to communicate here.
Okay, for those of you who nobody knows who ululate is, in our expedition to the Barrier Peaks, they met a mind flayer named Ululate, who had a manner of speaking which Luciano in particular found very frustrating. It was strangely up and down.
Something feels very wrong in my body as this music plays with it.
Yes. It was fairly ingratiating and always almost sycophantic.
I can't do that.
But now everyone knows how you're trying to speak.
Yes,
and
that's how I'm
Luciano
talking.
Has heard a lot of this manner of speech.
And
so
so that's how I'm talking to the captain, with these mannerisms up and down.
Gotcha.
And just kind of like fingering my staff.
Okay. And you say what? Oh, you've already said that. Yes.
Yeah.
And why don't you do? I'm going to go with intimidation.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that.
We shall see.
You get advantage, right? Being bone breaker, bone shadow.
Which was that again? You said intimidation?
Yes.
Oh, good lord. That's not bad.
It's not bad. And you, I also, I set the DC on this based on the situation. So the captain goes. So his mouth opens and closes and no words come out. Furrows his brow for a second, opens his mouth again. I beg your pardon. I was not, and he looks at Gut. I was not informed of your presence. Had I known that we had members of the orders here, you would have been extended every courtesy. I ask for your forgiveness.
You know that I boarded this craft when they did. And I made it on board and you didn't even know. Let's go tell the captain of the keep about your wonderful performance.
My forgiveness, sir. I am Root, captain of this keep.
Or might we be on our way?
And he's totally fidgeting. He looks back at the drow and he says, excuse me, may I speak with you away from the rest of the group? Especially since there are things that you did not know, I want to avoid the same mistake again and make sure that you are fully informed.
At this point, I just kind of start looking around. Yes. Yes, we can. And then I look over at Alyssa, and I realize that Alyssa and I never decided to make any names or anything. Like how do I even reference her at this point?
Name's fine.
Improvisation. Let's see how you guys handle that moment in character rather than coming up with the plan out of character.
Quileta, come.
I heard your name.
And where do you go?
I am gesturing at the captain. Please, which way do you wish to go?
Let's step over to the shipwright's hut, please. And he's definitely distracted and somewhat flustered by the arrival of the little white woman. And gestures to the two of you. Please, after you.
As we're passing by Kalic, I just look over to him and I tell them I just in a very matter-of-factly just passing by him. If I start laughing at all, shoot this one in the head.
One of the women will take care of it.
And good. At that, just looks about and takes a step back, sort of into the belly of this massive orc, and it kind of bounces off, and the orc just looks down at him. But even the orc doesn't have the satisfied look on his face that he did before. The drow in the back, however, is beaming. All right, so let's move down.
I'm assuming that's where you wanted to go.
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
And so he follows right after you, and looks back at the member of the Bone Shadow on the gangplank, wondering if she's coming. Giving you the look back and forth, and here she is.
And I just keep looking at her and looking at him and looking at her and looking at him, and then just kind of like playing with my staff, and like I'll look at him, and I do like this old man kind of like really kind of crank my neck and kind of like look sideways at him.
This was the power trip Luciano did not deserve, right?
So he doesn't like the way that your positions have kind of put him in the middle of you. And so he looks back and forth and not knowing what to do, puts his arms across his chest. So we have a prisoner. This prisoner is of the greatest importance and is wanted in Dorakka immediately. Otherwise, we would never have sent her on this particular ship. She was actually scheduled to go via the Road of Skulls in the morning, but there was a disturbance on the road last night, and we felt that we did not want to risk taking her over land. The wrath we would experience should this prisoner not make it live to Use's palace would be awful. It bears not considering. She is destined for the agony fields. So, what do you think I should do?
What concern is your prisoner to me?
He starts to speak and then realizes that it may not be the best thing that he could say, but that he goes on with it, and he says, well, if she is wanted at the highest ranks for sport in the agony fields, I assume that she might be dangerous.
So?
Yes, I see your point.
With this, I don't even say anything, but I kind of come up behind him and I start wrapping my hand around on his face, like I'm petting him. And I'm just kind of like coming up to him, kind of like sniffing him a little bit, and I'm kind of petting him, and I'm like, and I look over at Alyssa and I'm like, he would be good in a stew.
You don't need a new pet.
On that note, I need to take another break, guys. Bye.
He just becomes rigid at that. And he says, and it's weird, he says, thank you. And then he goes, well,
Can we depart?
Yes, I am certain that you don't wish to be detained any longer. And I would certainly like to have this high priority prisoner under your care and out of Grunland. If you would excuse me, please. And he just sort of tries to get off of you.
And I want to make, like, when he's leaving, touch. I'm making that sound that Ululade would make, that
The last time you ever
do that. Disturbing. That's disturbing.
So he moves in and begins speaking with Gut. And so Kalic and Merrick, you can hear him say, and he's like trying to shake it off and be stern. We are going to place the prisoner on the boat, and our guests will go with her. The ship sails as soon as you're ready, Captain. And he looks back at Luciano and back at Gut and says, if you'll excuse me, I have pressing business at the keep. And he kind of shoves through the group and makes his way and doesn't look back and disappears up the city streets in the direction of the keep.
I would very much like to do this before he gets out of range.
Tell me what you want to do. Because you sure haven't made him suffer enough, have you?
No.
All right. So, as he's pressing through, that would probably be your last opportunity before he's out of earshot.
So, well, no, I'm doing this into his brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sending words everywhere.
And so, in Ululade voice, in his brain, to him, mutter a word of our presence and we'll boil your balls first.
So nice. Wait, Shane, can you say that in Ugulade's voice, please?
No, Travis is doing well. He's coming up with a ululate-inspired voice. It's not the same, but it's its own thing. So
Not
the guy
the
is...
same, though.
It's fine, though. It was great.
Come back through like next year or 3 years or 20 years from now. I need Ululate's voice saying that.
So
You're talking about balls.
the captain kind of shoves through the group, strides confidently, and staggers. Doesn't turn around, and then continues walking. And then he is gone. So at that, Good looks towards the departing captain, looks towards...
I go back into the captain's quarters.
Watches as you walk by, bows, doesn't puff up his coattails. Just bows. And keeps his eyes on you as he bows. And as you pass by, you hear, and of course those of you who are standing there hear him say, "Blacktongue, please, take our prisoner below decks." And the orc says, "Might I spend some time with her first?" And Good says, "Just lock her up and come out immediately." So he steps aside, and the whole retinue, the guards, the drow, all of them walk onto the boat. They all kind of make their way. I'm not going to try to move all these tokens, so I'm just going to get rid of them. They all make their way to the stairs down, and as the drow is passing...
the other drow?
The other two drow?
Yeah.
She says... She looks to the two of you. Actually, as she's approaching, she goes... And as she comes alongside you, she says, "It looks like it's going to be an exciting trip." And smiles.
Does she say that in Drow or does she say that in Common?
She says that in Elvish. And continues walking by.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. So I'm down for dating a sexy drow before this game ends. It's a lifelong dream. I'm okay with it coming true. But the fact that she spoke Elvish and not drow is what makes me nervous.
Oh.
So at that, Good looks at Kalic and Merrick and says, "Well, interesting morning. If you would, please, let's board the ship. It looks like the cargo is loaded, and I would like to depart as soon as possible."
Oh, but I don't believe we discussed the terms of our travel. And Kalic takes 2 coins out of his purse, drops them on the dock, and says, "I believe that'll cover the cost," and gets on the boat.
He looks down at the coins, watches as you guys get on the boat. As you walk onto the boat, he looks around, and he picks up the coins. And then he goes, and then you hear kind of a, and the little undead dog runs up to him, and he reaches down and pets his skull. And then Gut boards the ship, and so does the undead dog. And as everyone finalizes getting on board, the ogre just steps from the boat onto the dock, bypassing the gangplank altogether, and then walks towards the town as if his job is done. After just a beat, both the orc and the I can't remember what these things are just by their face. The bugbear walk by and exit and just stand there on the dock watching. And Gut starts to bark some orders in Goblin, and these two start running up and down the dock, taking off ropes and throwing them onto the boat, And the ogre walks all the way here to the end of the dock and takes the big, I don't know ship terms, the big pointy thing at the front of the ship. He grabs it and the keel and goes and starts pushing, and nothing happens for a moment, and then the boat moves and starts sliding backwards out of its slip. And with a final shove, he goes, and the boat is moving backwards at a fairly good clip. At that point, let me adjust the size of our screen here so people can see what's going on. At that point, Gut rushes up to the back of the boat and takes his place at the wheel. And it's almost like the way you come out of your driveway backwards in the morning. He cuts the wheel with a big spin, and the ship that was going backwards starts to pivot to the side. And his crew, we've got too many stinking tokens on, so you're going to have to theater of the mind this. The crew begin to heave on these vast ropes that are at the very front of the ship. And here, midship, and tattered sails, splotched with all manner of yellowish and white stains, rise into the sort of lackluster morning breeze, and the ship begins to slide sideways across Grunland. And as you kind of go out into the lake, you can see up at the above this village, after you get a little space, you can see a hobgoblin in plate mail walking up the path towards the keep, which kind of looms over the city. He appears to be walking quite briskly. So the Black Eye has set sail, and you prepare to put the Grunland keep behind you. I think that's a fantastic time for a bathroom break. Let's hope that during the bathroom break, we've got no tech issues and we can jump right back into the game. And if everyone would go down into a private channel, we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello, hello! We are back, and just because this is the way this night has gone, can somebody in the stream actually confirm that you hear me talking?
I hear you talking.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Everybody hears everybody, right?
Are we?
Chat, can you hear us? Confirm that you can hear us in chat. Someone in chat say
I love the
Hey,
fact
balls.
that since
Well, remember, there's
salty
a
ball.
delay.
chat's on a delay, so by the time anyone
they hear
answers
us.
us, we've
Okay.
just badgered the heck out of them. Do you hear us?
Oh,
Do you hear us?
great.
Do you hear us?
Buffy.
Fantastic. Okay, so the city of the small fishing and shipping village of Grunland recedes in the background. I assume everyone is here on the dock, on the deck, the upper deck of the ship.
Out on the board.
Would you guys bring your tokens into wherever you happen to be?
I will be by Kalic.
And if we're in a cabin, we're just in the cabin.
Yeah, if you're in the cabin, you're in the cabin.
So where's Kalic? I'm.
Hold on. He's getting there. Hold on.
If you're in the cabin, I'll be at the door.
Taking a while there.
Hey, Kalic.
Kalic is
works
getting there.
slowly.
I'm still actively
Come on,
listening
Kalic.
through the door in case anything happens.
Okay.
Kalic is taking a seat on the stairs again.
So at this point, you don't see the sun because the above you is kind of this gunmetal gray sky without a single break in the looming clouds. As the ship continues to move further away from the village, the winds on the lake, on Wysteel Lake, begin to really fill the sails. And Gut begins shouting orders to his deckhands. I've told you guys many times that there are more people than I've got tokens. At this point, the people that you've got on the deck are the crew. So there's no additional people, just so you know, the population of the ship. So Gut is shouting orders, and this literally motley crew is running around trimming sails, adjusting it, and Gut seems to be recovering from this very stressful morning. It's as he takes the wheel, it's almost as if he grows an inch to maybe 5'9", and he certainly handles the wheel with a very confident familiarity as the ship moves out into the waters. And as he barks orders, a little bit of a smile begins to tickle the edges of his mouth, and again you see those curiously clean teeth. And apparently buoyed by the feeling of being out on the waters finally, and the wind filling the sails, he looks at Kalic and shouts down to him, "Excuse me, merchant. I heard your name, but I did not recall. Could you tell me again?"
It is Markel.
Markel, yes, Markel. From where do you hail, Markel? Oh, and would you fancy taking the wheel?
I wouldn't suppose to be able to steer this wreck.
No, of course not. Some people enjoy it, but I understand a man of your cultured tastes is probably not interested.
These hands were not made for manual labor.
Oh, I'm sure not. From where do you hail, Martel?
Well, as I said before, I'm from the nation of Ket.
Yes, few nations do as much trade with the Empire of Ooze as Ket. Strategically located, that nation, yes. Connecting the former Bakloonish Empire with it's the gateway to the Sheldamar Valley. Much rich trade comes through that nation, yes. From what city do you hail?
I actually spend most of my time in Highport.
Oh, I see. Well,
our family business is mostly done out of Highport. The family resides in Ket, but I run the business.
I see. Well, may I ask, how was your sleep last night? I know that my quarters, I'm sure, are not the accommodations that you're used to.
My sleep was untroubled.
Untroubled. I forgot to mention, that's quite rare. Those aboard the ship have dreams. You grow used to it after a while.
What kind of dreams?
Dreams of, I suppose, creatures of the deep, the squirmers, the squigglers they call them. There's something, I don't know, that they're very connected to us somehow. It's disturbing, honestly.
It sounds as though those are the concerns of a child.
I certainly hope that during your stay on the ship, you continue to feel that way.
I have a question. When will the ship be on open season and start rocking? Because I actually am a man who does not like to see it.
It's starting to land. You can still see the keep, but it's in the distance, and he's clearly not choosing to hug the shore. He's heading for open waters at this point. So at this, even now, the wind has fully filled the sails, and the seas are not incredibly rough, but they're choppy, and so the boat does a slow bounding dance over the seas.
I'm gripping the rail with white knuckles. That's going to shine through the green, and my face is beginning to turn white. But I'm trying to put on a brave face because I'm the guard.
Fantastic.
Kalic will look at Merrick and kind of sternly, "Buck up, Gorish." No, not throw up. Not throw up. Keep your stomach, man.
And I stand up a little bit straighter.
Well done. A valiant effort on your part.
Just Constitution later.
So at this point, after a little bit of conversation, Gut seems to be happy to look out over the waters and pilot his ship. Beside him, Blacktongue leans against the rails and looks out over the waters and appears to be falling asleep. What about the ladies? As orcs and goblins rush around the decks, tending to the sails and battening down loose lines, what did the two of you do?
All the single ladies?
Oh, the single ladies.
Please don't make me attempt to sing that.
Yes.
Please. No, we might get copyrighted for that. That's not in our.
Oh, that's true. You will not find that song in our credits.
All the single ladies.
Oh, I think I've got some ship sounds here.
Elara's
definitely
definitely flipping through that journal of Elara's, by the way. In the
Okay.
cabin.
Awesome. And Elara's going to stay where she can keep an eye on her brother, so she's going to stay above deck. Faking like she's looking out, sure, but she's just always keeping an eye on him, where he is.
Do Elisa's cheeks continue to flush as she reads the journal?
Unfortunately, she is in the captain's quarters. You can't see her.
Oh, no, I'm just asking.
Oh.
I can't wait to hear how she thinks about it.
They flush every time she thinks of Elara.
So I do also want to note, as the ship goes out into open waters, a light rain begins to fall. Anything the ladies are doing?
Nilly's going to just look at Elara and be like, all right. We don't know each other very well. Not too keen on elves. We gotta make this work, though.
You don't drow at some point?
You cut out. What did you say?
I said, are we going to speak to that drow at some point?
That is my concern and excitement. My concern is if she starts to speak drow to us, loudly shout, speak in common tongue, prisoner, so everyone knows what you're saying. It's the only way we can trick her into not... Unless you know drow, because I don't fucking know drow.
No. I know Elven, but not the under...
So if she tries to speak to us in a language we do not understand, just bark at her. Prisoner, speak in the common tongue.
I have a feeling by the smile on her face that she knows we are not what we seem.
Let's not get our cover blown. Let's not kill her. But I would say we should make our way downstairs.
Elara looks at Kalic, and he appears to be in a pretty safe situation up there. As safe as he can be. He's got Merrick right next to him. Right.
Merrick is a water pussy, but I think he can handle it.
Merrick heaving over the side of the boat.
No water pussy.
Should I roll a Constitution check?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to give you a DC 15. If you do a successful con save.
Did it work?
No. So at this point,
No.
your grim resolve cracks. Your stomach roils. And in a last-ditch effort to keep it in, you slap your hands over your mouth, fountaining vomit out your nose.
Can it go into this hole as they're going down to the second?
No! You heathen!
As funny as that might be, my last
You're over
instruction, my last description from you was that you were hanging over the edge. So you coat your hands and much of the front of your armor and the side of the boat in a chunky spray.
Markel.
Oh, God. Markel is downwind.
Fortunately, the boat is moving forward, so you're feeling the breeze.
Oh.
And actually, he's upwind. Yeah, Martel is down. You are downwind of him. So
Yeah,
you're getting it.
I'm in the thick of things, so to speak.
Martel, I've got you covered.
Yeah, you've definitely got it
have me
covered.
covered. I think Kalic is also going to have to make a con check.
Feel free.
We could have a stand by me pieing situation contest here real quick.
I'll give you a 10.
No.
Am I eating the water pussies?
Okay, where's my con? There it is. Let's see how this works.
Meow.
All that meat.
I'm glad because
Yep, I think I'm good.
they're just ignoring me.
Yes, your stomach roils a little bit, but you lean out into the wind, breathe in some fishy, salty air, and you manage to hold your breakfast, which I don't even think you had.
No, luckily.
I did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, Nilly and Elara, are you going downstairs now? Is that what you've decided to do?
Let's do this.
I have put my arm ringed in hers, and I've started to walk. It is her decision on whether or not she's going to pull away.
She is definitely going to walk, but she's going to shoot her brother a glance. And it kind of makes...
If it makes her feel better, Nilly will stop on the way here and goes, "My lord, we will be making our way downstairs. If the guard cannot take care of you, call for us."
And Markel nods, like trying to shake like little rivulets of vomit off of his cloak.
Fantastic.
Oh, sir, I think you missed one. And she flicks a piece of milk off your cheek.
So the two drow go below decks, and as they do, you realize that the ship is definitely much more. It's full. You see the fruits of the labors of the dock hands that you smell chickens and there's fruit. Clearly, there's there are strong spirits being held in some of these barrels. They give off kind of almost an eye-watering reek of strong alcohol, but the ship seems to be full. You couldn't keep much more in it. That's what you notice as you head down from the upper deck and head towards the lower deck. However, before we go to the lower deck, let's go over here. Let me get rid of this dude who's not actually there. And let's check in with Luciano and Alessa. Alessa said that she is perusing the journal. Are you making any attempt to hide your efforts? Or is Luciano just watching you read a journal?
I'm trying to read it where he can see it.
And I'm not really paying attention. I'm back at the back window, just really kind of pacing back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any
I wouldn't say
conversation?
that I'd notice her. I wouldn't say that I've noticed her reading a book. She'd be just like her reading any one of her other books anyways. She's always reading a book.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
Do I learn anything extra from that journal?
Let me think. Let's do an Arcana check.
Well, we're good here. That's in the bag.
Yeah, sure.
Good lord.
Yeah, right.
Why do I even ask you to check?
It's fun to roll.
Yes.
It's fun to roll.
It is. It is fun to roll. You have cause to speculate as you read this story. Clearly, Clarissa was delivered at some point from the torment that happened because of her bargain with who she calls the chained god. And so clearly she came back to her right mind. And you remember seeing her, and she seemed like almost a very pleasant, almost frail woman. It's certainly hard to imagine her in the escapades that everyone has elaborated on and killing indiscriminately. But you think, what might happen when her soul leaves her body? You wonder, the soul in the phylactery, what is the condition of that soul? If the soul was something that was promised to apparently an incredibly powerful god, does the god have that soul, or was she right and it was genuinely protected inside this little glass bottle? You just wonder. It's the kind of thing you'd like to know.
Good information.
Yeah. So, ladies, so I'm assuming there's nothing else going on in the captain's quarters, and I'll go out to the. Okay. So.
Is there anyone?
Sorry. No, there's nobody. There's nobody in this part of the ship. You hear some nervous clucking of chickens, but that's all you hear. And you hear rain pattering on the deck above you. You can see in several places the rain is coming through either cracks in the floor or the gaping holes and splashing down onto the cargo.
Okay. Unless you want to pet a cock, let's go down.
Not those ones. Actually, I think Elara would pass in general.
All right, so let's go downstairs.
Down below.
Let's see. There we go. So as you go down the stairs, you see that no cargo has been placed on this level at all. It is just as empty and deserted, populated just by fungus and barnacles and skeletons.
Tons of spilled forks.
and a fair number of spilled rusty forks. And as you go down the stairs, in the bow of the boat, with her sitting on the ground, in a little area where she's kind of kicked away debris, and with her hands in her lap, with chains coming around from the mast into manacles on her hands, she's sitting there watching as you come down the stairs, and she smiles.
You know we wouldn't stay away.
She raises an eyebrow and says,
Is that in Drow or Elven?
it's not in a language you recognize.
Speak the common tongue, prisoner. We are not here to cohort with the criminals. Speak the common tongue, for in case anyone is listening.
She raises an eyebrow at you and then says, well, I fear that we are in danger of being overheard by roughly 1,000 rats. Aside from that, we appear to be quite alone.
We are never alone. Haven't you learned that here?
I seem to be surrounded by incompetency. I perhaps had let my guard down. Perhaps it is wise. From your perspective, I, however, wish we could speak in private. I am fascinated to know what the two of you are doing here.
As we are just as fascinated to know why one of our own is chained to a mast in a disgusting, disheveled ship.
Yes, I seem to have fallen from grace. Quite disturbingly.
I'm gonna imagine Elara has some kind of water vial thing on her, and I think she's gonna take like a piece of her cloak and pour some water on it and throw it at her, or hand it to her. Nice.
Okay.
To clean up with.
She extends her hand and takes the gift and says, "Thank you." As she begins to wipe her face, she says, "Forgive me, I'm Kizette. With whom do I have the pleasure of sharing these luxurious accommodations?"
I am Misery.
And I'm Triel.
Are we here to exchange stories like young girls?
No, I would rather know what sins you have brought upon our people, and why you are chained on this hideous floor.
She, for the first time, does not have the sexy, confident smile on her face.
Damn, and I love that.
She lets that go. And then she looks up at you and is just flat out defiant and says, I have been requested at the highest levels. I am destined for the agony fields. But orders have been sent down that I am to be brought there, unmolested, unspoiled, unharmed. I don't know what your business is, but it would be foolish for you to harm me.
Can she reach her mouth with her hand shackles?
Yes. Yes, she's been wiping her face.
Okay.
And now she
So
just
Nilly-
holds this, the rag in her hands.
Now, Nilly has an obscene amount of fruit she had stored on her person before she left, so she's going to pull an apple out and hand it to her and step back and say, "We mean you no harm. It is quite clear that harm will come to you no matter what."
That is true. Unless I pull off an escapade the likes of which my storied past has never seen. I am destined for unimaginable suffering. It's a fantastic feeling. You should try it sometime.
Oh, so you like where you are?
No. I wish I had some clever story to persuade you to release me. But my sins are known. All you would have to do is ask.
We are.
I see that you carry the insignias and vestments of the Cult of Lolth. Priestesses, are you?
Nilly gives her a look. She just looks down at her robes and looks at her like, no, I'm just wearing these because my other clothes are in the wash.
Well, all I can do is hope for the endless political strivings of the drow priestesses. Perhaps my sins would not be so foul to you as I fear, but I tried to assassinate the High Priestess. It's the kind of thing you don't want to fail, and I failed.
Yes, I feel like failure would leave you in a ship like this.
Yes, and I have not yet fallen so far as I will, I fear. As you know, Eclavdra is not tolerant of those who do not belong to the cult. I and my family have worshipped other gods. And my parents were taken from me. And I was subjected to a very harsh upbringing. Great suffering and harsh labor. But I excelled because I'm quite deadly. And I managed to work my way into the priesthood, always intending to slay the one who brought such pain onto me and my family. And so one night, I crept into the temple, crept by guard after guard, deactivated all of the traps and magical protections, slipped into Eclavdra's bedchamber, and found it empty. And at that point, I was discovered. I picked a fine time to go kill the High Priestess. I had heard reports that she was in the temple, but no. Where was she? In Dorakka, where she often resides. She has her own quarters in Uza's palace. So now I'm being brought to her to pay and to provide sport for the foul rabble of Dorakka. I'm sure they will give me a ring of life so that I can withstand torment until they grow bored. That's my story. What about you?
Nilly doesn't answer. She goes, what are the name of your parents?
My parents? Do you fear you might have been one of the ones who exercised this wrath upon them? You're far too young, I can tell, even for a drow.
No, I do not take missions on pulling parents from children. I have far more important things to be doing. I just am curious.
Well, my father was Bartek, and my mother Louisa. Ring a bell?
Did it? What did your parents do for a living?
They were merchants. We lived just outside Irilhai Sinlu. We were merchants plying trade between the Sea of Dust and the gateway cities on the other sides of Slariton's tunnel. We plied trade with the Kuotoa and with the Larara. I found them to be detestable, especially the pale, sickly Larara. Humans were never meant to live underground for so long, and they clearly suffered for it.
Alara's getting nervous because she doesn't exactly know what she should know about any of these people and if doesn't recognize anything. So Alara's going to make her move now, unless Nilly. I'll wait to see if Nilly has anything.
Nilly is
toggling her camera on and off. There we go.
No, it's like flashing at me. It's like, hey. Nilly furrows her brows. And
gonna walk up. Oh, sorry.
Nope, do it. She'll furrow her brows and
backtrack.
like her mouth will be open as like she's trying to create a word. You can move as she functions her brain.
Alright, is gonna walk up to this drow and say, in common, you disgust me, you betray Louth. And she's gonna smack her, and at the same time she's using her sleight of hand to put a thing of lockpicks in her hands, and an Elven says to her, wait, do not put us in danger. Can I do that? There's a lot.
You can do anything you want.
Alright.
So let's have that sleight of hand.
Come on, baby.
First of all, that's a good roll. Tell me what you're trying to achieve with your sleight of hand. Do you not want her to know that you've placed those in her care?
I want her to. I just want, if there's any spies looking, to see me smack her and not put anything into her hands.
I see.
And that's like very good.
I see. Interesting. So, she takes the slap and looks up at you with a completely flat expression. Perhaps a little bit of confusion. She feels something in her hand, but does not look down. And after a moment of hesitation and confusion, she shakes her head, clears her throat. Well, that is precisely what I expected. I would have told you nothing, but you would have found out from the captain. Perhaps you would join me at the Agony Fields and watch my painful demise.
It would be my pleasure. And she spits at her feet and turns her back and waits for Nilly. Wait, Nilly has to do anything else.
As she walks away, she looks at Elara and looks back at the drow and goes, in Elvish, very quietly, she leans forward and goes, do not fuck this up for us. And she walks away.
And she looks up at you as you say that, and looks so confused. And then looks back, and you can see her clutching whatever has been placed in her hand.
Hope she can use a fucking lockpick.
That's it. She doesn't say anything else.
No?
She... Would you tell?
Does what?
She doesn't say. She doesn't know what to say, and she's like her. You can see the wheels spinning. You can see the confusion, and then she just says, "I regret that I'm so detestable to you. It would have been nice to have some intelligent conversation on this voyage. 3 days is a long time to spend in looking around in a hole like this, but I understand."
Perhaps we get bored.
Yes.
We must get to shore safe.
Let us go before anyone knows we've been talking to the Prisoner.
She just continues to hold whatever it is that she's got up. And doesn't look at it. But it's like she's saying, you gave me this thing, right? And then you guys are leaving?
No.
I want to walk away, but Nilly has so much more to say. She's so full of emotions.
Ah! Elara say, please continue. That's not her voice. I keep on fucking myself up.
Are we staying?
She doesn't even have a voice anymore.
It's like, stop to stay. Fuck it. I'm here all night, guys. I'm here all night. Nilly is here all night.
Said what? Oh yeah. Says, yeah. Do not rush because of me. I just choose not to look at her face anymore.
Okay, if we're staying, Nilly's gonna do it. She's just gonna ask. When did your parents disappear? When were they taken?
They were taken, and all of a sudden you hear... And then you hear rats underneath you just going... running, like it sounds like 1,000 rats running, clicking, and she suddenly looks down and is terrified, looking around, and rats start coming up out of the cracks and skittering around the floor, and all of a sudden you hear a big just splash. Water comes up through the hole, and the rats slowly hunker down and are still.
Oh, don't worry about him. He's the thing that lives at the bottom of the ship. Don't continue. Carry on.
She's clearly shaken by this.
Nilly's pissed because she knew the thing was big down there. Merrick wasn't playing games with her. That resurface of last night's fury just returned.
She says, my parents were taken from me when I was young. I might have been 40.
Elf young. So weird.
Old enough to understand what happened. Old enough to know them well. Old enough to mourn not the idea of them, but who they really were every day. I mourn. They were sacrificed to Loth. They were devoured by spiders. Alive, of course. As you know, it is the custom.
Of course.
Praise Loth.
God, isn't she great, though? I have a spider right here.
I see that.
Spider stickers all over my house because I fucking love them. I love them. But that's not a character discussion. We can't go into that again. God, she's great. But, Nilly swallows because, Nilly doesn't like Loth as much as I fucking do. You can tell she's starting to get upset. She's starting to shake a little.
Have I disturbed you? Struck a nerve, perhaps? And then she kind of looks down. I mean, it's obvious that she doesn't know what to play here. Attitude or gratitude, she just doesn't know what's going on.
That's Elara and Nilly. We're so fucking crazy. We're just throwing the 1-2 punches at this woman. Like, we're punching her, we're yelling at her, we're leaving, we're coming back, we're asking about her family, we're like, fuck you, bitch, and at the same time we're like, do you remember what it was like to know your family?
She'll be fucking us by the end of day 1. Day 2, me.
Okay, I just heard drow threesome. Why do we not have more views on Return to Greyhawk?
And this is why we have a mature rating.
Chat tweeted out, it's time, it's happening, right here in the dungeon. We have manacles.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, goodness. So, back to the conversation.
Nilly is going to... There's so many things I want to do.
It's a 3-day journey.
You know, at this point, Nilly's just going to say, tomorrow. Be in your spot. Do not move tomorrow.
She raises her hands, still cradling whatever you gave her, but rattles her manacles. Where am I going to go?
Well, there's a hungry beast below, so...
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Perhaps he will devour me and save me the agony of spectacle. One can always hope.
Nilly's leaving. She can't stay.
Okay.
She can't do it. She's in her feels.
Both of you leaving? Was that
Lar
a...
is-
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We'll make sure our merchant isn't dead yet.
All right. So
Better hurry up.
let me...
Don't worry, I got him covered.
And vomit.
So at this point, we have
Nobody will
stopped
want to touch
in.
him.
We have stopped in on all of the different groups here on the ship, and I want to talk about how you would like to progress through this journey. This is a 3-day journey, as you might assume. Things might happen on the journey, but I might ask at some points. I might say something along the lines of, and the day's travel on the ship goes uneventfully, night begins to fall, and you
Just
can...
like you just did.
Just like
now.
I just
The
did.
day went by
Right.
just now.
Yes. And at that point, if somebody has something that they wanted to do today, you could say, wait, before I go to bed or whatever, I want to talk to so-and-so or do whatever. But at this point, you have been sailing at a pretty brisk clip across a lake where the sky and the waters are unnervingly the same color. And ahead of you, they meet at the horizon in a single line of fog. You are out of sight of land entirely, and all you can see are churning waters, churning skies, and in the distance ringing you in every direction, fog. And there's nothing else. And slowly, gray turns to black. Anyone want to do anything before you turn in for the night?
This is night 1.
If you would like it to be.
I do. I want to pull that clay skull out of my bag and concentrate and use my identify spell on it that I got with the blue eyes. Way back in the day.
Holy shit!
Wow, that is old.
I have time now.
Oh my
Holy
gosh!
shit.
You've been holding on to that for a long time.
You've been holding on to that since March of 2017.
I haven't had time.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
You'll get a lot
Okay.
of time in this game.
I've got to admit, that's a little bit of a curveball for me.
Way to
Come on,
go.
Shay, just remember back to March. Come on.
Holy cow. If you would like, we can do another break, and I can go through my Evernote for each episode until I find mention of that.
I can take it back, Shane. I
Or
remember.
maybe you could remind me. What the
I'll
hell are
remind
you
you.
talking about?
Do you remember? Do you have it in your book, Danny?
That
Oh, it was before them.
Oh, not
Oh,
Danny.
way
I
before
don't
then.
remember
Way
this.
before then.
Yeah.
May. No, it was in the tower, wasn't it? Wasn't it in Morton King's tower? As we reached the top, it was sitting there, and it was.
nope, it was
glowing?
after
No.
that because I wasn't with you at that point.
Oh no, you weren't. You weren't. It wasn't. No, so it would have been April or May.
Wait, you... Okay, never mind.
It was in the Angry Noodle place.
Angry... So it was in the Temple of Cyril.
Yes.
Yeah. Angry Noodles.
And you found this in Ruette's hidden chamber, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Oh shit, you did. Fuck.
Had
Wow.
like blue eyes, and you could take the lid off the top.
This hurts. My brain is like twisting.
Sorry, guys.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So it's a skull, and you lift the lid off.
Yeah, you had a whole description for this thing that was.
I mean,
really
it's probably
ornate.
something I pulled out of my butt, and then we haven't talked about it for literally
As all
9
good
months.
Things are.
I think I need to make a
best
T-shirt.
things
All
come
good
out your
things
butt.
are from my butt.
Hey, let it be said.
Full
Clip
circle.
that. Let's clip that.
Full circle.
Yeah, for real.
Soundbite.
Okay, so you cast an identify spell on it. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I can pull it up real quick.
Yep.
I don't think
That
I
was
have
evil,
anything.
man. That was just like so perfectly. Like I've been waiting for this moment for months.
A while.
I haven't had enough time to do my. It's like 10 minutes to do identify.
No. If we can explain this in real terms, May took the time to look through her notes and was like, "Hey, we never touched on that," and it's been almost a year.
That's probably true.
She
I
has
have all
some really
kinds of
good
notes.
notes.
All kinds. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm almost there.
That's what he said.
Let's hope not.
Don't worry, I got more stuff in there for later. This is the only thing for now.
Why does it keep switching for me? Now my search is not working. Come on.
Oh.
Wait, was the best DM skill pulling stuff out of your butt? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah,
That-
apparently it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's like a black hole. It's not so much.
is it? It's a little smaller than a normal skull, correct? Am I remembering this right?
You didn't say that. You just said it was a skull.
Ah,
I typed the discussion in Roll20 as to what I wrote down.
okay. So as you cast Identify on it, you understand that it serves a couple of functions. First of all, it is an arcane focus, much like your staff. It's something that would allow a wizard or any sort of practicer of the arcane arts the ability to amplify their powers through it, and in doing so, not use material components for most of the things that they're doing. Does that make sense? I think you have left. Are you out of Skype? Who did we lose?
Bree, she's doing some stuff.
Bree's
Okay,
doing
I
some stuff.
I don't know why it keeps doing that right now. It does it every once in a while. Like it stops.
Do you ever minimize Skype?
Sometimes.
Don't do that.
But here we are. You also feel like the skull can detect evil, detect good, detect alignment.
Damn.
And you also believe that it can cast protection from good, if that might happen to be handy to you. And also, inside it is when you concoct a salve or a potion and you store it inside the skull, there's some sort of benefit once it's stored inside for a period of time.
All right.
In terms of being technical, it would mean that if there's a way to get advantage or some sort of additional benefit to the particular potion, I would just deal with that on a case-by-case basis.
Cool.
So there it is.
This is a cool little skull.
Wow. That's crazy. So you could use that for your spellcasting focus if you didn't already have a badass staff that's basically a relic. So there you go.
I bet it's worth some money.
Can you mount the skull on top of the staff and duel both of them?
Maybe make a necklace out of it.
Dual arcane it?
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
about
That
the
is-
size of one of Merrick's fists.
Tiny skull. Or a big skull. Human Merrick.
Yes. So, smaller than a human skull.
Okay. Thank you. That's
Sure.
the only thing I wanted to do.
Thank you. That was quite a trip down memory lane. Fantastic. Let me recycle our... I wish, if anyone from Battle Bards happens to be listening, love your Battle Bards cast. feature. It's fantastic. I wish like a new feature would be loop. That'd be fantastic. Okay, so anyone else doing anything other than settling in for the night?
Shane, at some point I would like to speak with Alaska, but it does not have to be tonight or it's whenever it's convenient.
Alesa. Yes.
I wrote that down someplace how to pronounce it, and I lost my sheet.
Nilly is going to cast a spell before bed.
Okay.
Nilly is going to cast Sending.
Gotcha.
Hold on, let me click it. Let me click it.
I know sending, but yeah, you go ahead and put it in chat. Yeah.
It is in chat.
Yes.
It is right. 25. Yep, 25 words.
Do you know these 25 words?
Yes, I'm sending it to the drow in the ocean. Well, in the bottom of the boat. And it is.
Her name is Kazette.
Kazette. I will not remember how to say that, even if I write it down.
That's fantastic.
Ooh, I'm excited. You're sending her a message.
Okay, so I had it typed out, so I'm ready. I counted it multiple times. She's going to say, very quietly into the drow's brain, "We gave you a gift. I will be sinking this ship as we dock in Dorakka. Use it then. Secrecy is key. We'll talk more."
That's quite a bold plan. All right.
And she can respond up to 25 words.
Yes. As is typical, no one else knows the plan. There we go. And then Nilly runs off into the night.
Well, Nilly can say this in the safety of her bed.
Yes.
But she can respond up to 25 words.
Okay. So there is a long period with no response. And I am not going to write something out and count words, but here's your response. She says, "I have seen your gift. I do not understand, and I struggle to trust, but I look forward to speaking more." That is what you receive.
First night.
All right. So everyone's settling down to bed?
I got creeped out last night, so before I go to bed tonight, come on, hold on. Yeah, just where I decide to bed up in the corner of that room.
Huh. Okay. So there you go. So you're gonna cast Zone of Truth in the room. All right.
Oh yeah, where I'm
Zone of
at.
Truth.
Okay.
Where I'm at in the cabin. You know, I haven't really left the back window of the captain's quarters this whole time, so that's where I'm at.
Nellie's gonna walk into the cabin where the Zone of Truth is and just go, "You're a bitch." No, I'm just
You're a bitch and I'm burning
Okay. It is, so as you are beginning to move towards your quarters, you do see the rest of the crew. What they seem to do is just flop onto the deck. They may lean against the railing. Some of them might pull out some sort of burlap sack, or was at some point in the distant past, but now it is a foul rag. And then they pull up over themselves. One of them lays against the stairs and just falls asleep with his mouth open, face looking at the sky. Black Tongue just sits right up there against the railing next to Gut. But as everyone starts to head towards bed, Gut remains at the wheel. He doesn't seem to be tired, doesn't make any moves, but as he sees you turning in, he does offer, "Good night, my friends, and may you have pleasant dreams."
I kind of growl at him and then kind of scrunch up into a little.
Oh, I don't even want you in the cabin. You probably smell like vomit. And because I'm
not in the cabin. I'm over here. I'm right here, outside.
Oh, you're sleeping outside. That's fine.
by
If
the
you
rail.
enter the zone of truth room, I will say a nasty comment about you smell like vomit.
And everybody else is going into the captain's quarters. Is that right? What kind of watch system? Are we going to have a watch system? Or at this point, at sea, fully at sea, do you feel safe enough to just sleep?
I'm not going to get too much sleep, probably.
Nilly's gonna sit right next to Luciano. Well, not that close, but close.
Sit on Luciano.
Yeah, baby.
Fantastic.
We just sit right on his lap. Hey, Luciano. No.
Kalic, is that where you're staying?
Right back to the corner where he slept the night before.
Okay.
Damn.
All right. Any bedtime conversation? Don't want to shortchange anything?
Nilly's gonna look at Luciano and whisper, "I'm sinking the ship when we make it to Dorakka," and then she lays down to go to sleep.
Of course, nobody's ever going to tell anything.
And this is what Luciano's doing.
The drunken, resigned stare.
Just.
And Merrick will have no idea, ever.
Oh my gosh, is Luciano going through withdrawal right now, though?
No, I think he's got some.
I just assume he's always got it on him.
I'm always packing.
So the ship continues to heave and list through the night. Some of you may find that comforting and it lulls you to sleep. Some of you might find that nauseating and it causes you to lose sleep all night as you continue to heave, watching nothing but a few drops of greenish bile fall from your lips each time. But regardless, all of you do manage to sleep at some point during the night. Obviously, as far as I know, I guess you guys have expended a couple of little spell slots. You can have those back. But most notably, as you sleep, again, you dream. Your dreams take you far and wide, memories, imaginings, but always they seem to end in the deep. Suspended in the water, you cannot see far in any direction, your chest pounding, your heart beating, dying to take in breath, but you're underwater, and the shape moves by. The tentacle caresses. You hear a deep reverberation far in the murky waters. And so the night passes.
Is Luciano walking on water now?
He does a water walk in his sleep.
No, that was an error.
That was a premature spell cast. There you go.
I hate those.
Man.
And at some point, you become aware that a listless gray light is, I was going to say shining through, sort of limping through the window in your general direction. It is morning. You hear footsteps on the deck. You smell something really foul. And everyone stretches and is awake.
Nilly sits up and just walks away from Luciano.
Attempt to trip her with my staff.
Listen, if you want to succeed, she'll just land right on this table. I'm not even fight you on that one. It's early.
If you really want to do that, you really want to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Just do a.
What would I roll?
Like, do you actually have the staff? I would say just roll a hit on the staff. Just roll a hit with your mace.
I think I do have quarterstaff. Hold on.
Okay. Good.
I think you're right.
Where's the staff?
I don't have it in here.
Listen, don't
just
even
use
roll.
your mace.
Nilly will just take it, honestly. Nilly will take it.
What a good sport.
For this moment, I will let Luciano have a good trip.
And just like sticking in between her knees, just sticking the staff just right between her knees.
Wait,
So
what are you doing with it?
that happens.
It didn't go on my ass, it went on my knees. We're clearing that one.
We're moving right past that, and you land kind of on your stomach on the table. You can press yourself up from the table.
Yeah, and I just kind of smooth, and I take another step away.
Seeing the tumble, Kalic laughs out loud.
Nilly twists her head and says, I don't care if your sister is there, I will snap your fucking neck.
He laughs harder.
Oh boy, it must be getting close to midnight. Things are going off the rails.
Nilly rolls to snap necks. Is there a roll for that?
No.
Oh, that's fine. Nilly leaves.
Okay. Fantastic. So, you have an entire day on the ship. It is morning. You can tell that you smell something that may be a distant relative of food. What does everybody like to do at this point?
Probably on me.
Yeah, we're smelling you.
So, are we saying the day kind of progressed?
No, I'm saying it's morning. Is there anything anybody would like to do? Otherwise, time will pass.
I think at this point, Luciano will come out of the captain's quarters area onto the main deck and harass as many of the deckhands that he sees. In one form or another.
That's very kind of you. Well, one thing that you notice as you come up onto the deck, let me resize, best for our stream window here. How's that look? Close enough. I'll get a little bigger. All right, there we go. So as you come out, all of the crew seem to be gathered in the nose of the ship, in the bow, I think it is, of the ship, and they're all eating with their hands out of some sort of pot, out of which they're bringing. I mean, it's not wet, but it's somewhat gelatinous. Like as they bring out these gray hunks of something, you can see them quiver on their way from the pot to their mouth, and they're laughing and talking in their guttural tones. Is this out
of?
Pardon me?
So, like their food situation, like do they all have their own bowls, or is there like one main like?
There is a communal pot.
Okay.
And Good still stands at the wheel. You don't know whether he stayed up or not, all night or not, but there he stands. And as you begin to exit your quarters, he greets you warmly and says, "Another beautiful day on Whitestill Lake. Hopefully, you can spend some time today enjoying the scenery. We've entered the slithering sea. Look." And he gestures towards the waters.
Since he got my attention, I will then walk up to him and start fiddling with his goblin ears and just be like, "These would be delicious fried."
Jesus Christ. Put him to bed.
Well,
and then just walk away and start heading over to the guys with the communal squiggly doos.
Okay. Merrick, what are you doing? Are you still like leaning over the edge?
I'm leaning against the crate and I'm looking worse for wear, probably. I'm probably going to be at disadvantage of most things during this trip until I can recuperate.
Let me check everyone's passive. Okay, so Luciano,
If I do see Nilly, I'm going to ask her if she has any spare fruit or food. I'm empty.
So yes, Luciano, as you are walking from this sadistic tormenting of Gut towards the crew gathered around their gelatinous breakfast, something catches your eye in the water off to your right.
Mark that. Ping it. Okay.
And as you look in that direction, it's like you see the water churn and swarm a little bit, and you hear... And you have a deja vu of your dream last night.
I do?
Yes. That's something about the sound that you hear. Sounds like the sound in your dream, and the waving swirl of the waters reminds you of something?
He cast a spell, I think. Zone of Truth. Does that stop it, the dream?
That keeps you from having dreams?
Well, it only lasts for like 10 minutes, so unless something happened in that period of time, it just would have fizzled out.
Yeah.
Luciano is trying to figure out what to do next, because he was going to do something else. Damn it. Well, he's still going to do originally what he thought to do.
Okay.
Anyways, which is that he's going to make his way to the communal pot over on this side, and
yeah. You cut out.
What does he see when he looks into the communal kennel, the big kettle?
They appear, it's a big pot, and it appears to be filled with little globules about the size of a large mouse or a small rat.
They could be stabbed? They're globules that they could be stabbed?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to take the end of my staff, because the way I imagine my staff, the end of the staff is very sharp and
that is correct.
Down.
Yep.
And so I'm just going to take my staff and just kind of
pop one
and get one of the globules, and then just kind of flip my staff around and just start.
So as you stab it, there's kind of a fairly grotesque squishing sort of sound. I don't know if you heard my sound effect. And as you turn your staff up, you present yourself with this little globule, you recognize it is a mouse that has in some way been cooked or prepared in a way that has rendered it gelatinous, almost gelatinous. But you can still make out its features, its little legs.
No, I stone cold face it.
Wow.
Okay.
Going into character.
I will need just a flat out con check here. Not that I doubt your resolve, and certainly admire your creativity, but
Please fail. Yes.
Hey, 7 might make it. You never know.
So as your teeth begin to close over it, you feel the gelatinous substance part so...
Wait. Just hold on.
You did your save.
Would this be considered an ability check? Or saving throw?
I was just going to make it a constitution check, which is what I asked for.
Well, is that considered an ability check or saving throw? It's very important
It is an ability check, yes. Oh, you're out. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. I could see why you guys would be frustrated that you can't hear me. Okay.
It's not frustrated. We just miss you.
So, Travis, we're not hearing what you're saying.
I'm sorry. I have to remember press to talk because the new thing that I'm trying out. And I'm sorry.
It clearly works. Without question, it works.
Yeah. What'd you last hear?
Well, I heard you advocating that this is an ability check, which it is, and then I saw luck pop up. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to do that again.
You're going to expend some luck.
I'm going to expend some luck, and we're going to try that. We're going to try another Constitution saving throw, and everybody with me. No whammies. No whammies, no whammies. No
that
whammies.
Doesn't work.
I kind of want a whammy on this one.
It's better. It's better. Aww. It's better.
So, back to where I was. As you bite into this globule, it doesn't feel like an animal at all. You've eaten lots of animals. You've even crunched through bone at time. There's no resistance in this creature. You can tell it's a mouse, but there's no spine, there's no ribs, and so it just sloughs off onto your tongue, and in your mouth tastes like flatulence, and your stomach roils. Your mouth suddenly waters, not in a good way. But you know that if you choose to, you could swallow this thing.
Down it goes.
Down it goes.
Down it goes.
And they all sit there staring up at you. Blacktongue says, I doubt that's the kind of food you're used to eating.
So, which one is that on the board?
Blacktongue is the massive one.
Damn. Okay.
And he says that not in a mocking way, perhaps almost in wonder.
And I just kind of fiddle with the rest of the mouse, and I'm like, it's delicious.
Well, the good news is we've got buckets of this stuff. It's all we brought. We would certainly be most honored if you would join us.
And so this is the guy that's kind of in charge, right?
You could do a perception check to try to figure out the hierarchy. He's definitely the top dog in this little group.
Okay.
There's no question
right.
as to that.
That's good enough. That's all I need to know. So I'm just gonna do any of these sailors mean anything to you? Can I hurt one of them?
And he goes,
Oh, I think you should hurt them all.
And a look of panic begins to spread across the other four of them.
The one nearest to me, this guy right here, I want to bash him with my mace. Like, just whip it out on the back and just whack.
Wow, right on. So do so.
All right. I'm back. I was doing a think. I was doing a think down there. I did a real big think.
So yeah, do it.
Well, I pressed the button for Calamity.
Did it happen? I didn't see it.
It's not doing anything. Hold on.
I don't see no Calamity.
It's not very calamitous.
Does this go with like a
here we go.
There we go.
Change in alignment?
There we go.
He's always been crazy.
That is a hell of a hit. So, whack! This thing bashes him in the back of the skull. And he goes sprawling, lands against the pot. What's the damage on this? And it didn't roll damage.
Let me click on it.
There we go. So he knocks over the pot. Little globules of gelatinous mouse go rolling all over the place. He like bellies over it and then head over heels and lands basically. Let's move him. He goes all the way to here before he stops rolling, and he's squealing and kicking, and blood is gushing from the side of his head. And these three, so you actually hit the smallest one. So this is a goblin. This is a goblin. This is what is that? This is the bugbear, and this is an orc. This guy. So, and they're all just looking in horrified shock, and Black Tongue immediately goes.
Without skipping a beat, I want to take the same mace and see if I can get another mouse out of the thing, and then just kind of not over my shoulder, but just kind of dragging the mace along, and then head back to the cabin.
Right on, yeah, fantastic. So as you walk away, you hear just going on and on, Black Tongue.
You see why they're in charge now, don't you?
And this guy just continues to mule and kick and squeal. So there you go. That's a fine good morning to you.
That's my contribution.
That was mean.
A fine good morning to you.
I will say, Shane, that's the first time I've ever heard anything described tasting like flagellum.
Conjured an image, didn't it?
It's the first for me. I'm like, oh, I'm chewing on fart.
Well, and that makes you think, have I ever chewed on fart before? What does that taste like?
Oh, when that happens and you go, dude, my mouth was open. Yeah, that's the way it was. Yeah.
It's not cool to fart in somebody else's mouth. It's not cool, man.
So, as you walk away, you again hear... And as you glance towards the water, you see another spot where the surface is broken, something is slithering across the surface, and a large shape plunges down.
Yeah, I know. There's something I should know about this that I don't know right now that I should know that I don't know. And it's driving me nuts.
Anything you want to do to...
No, because I made a hasty retreat back to the cabin. So, I mean, would I have heard that on my way to the cabin? I was pretty intent about,
Yes, you definitely heard it. It sounded stinking loud.
I can't... No, I can't break character. I'm just walking back to the room.
All right. Anybody else have some morning antics before time passes?
I'm just observing. I'm observing these sirens.
What does that mean?
I'm
what
observing
sirens?
The snakes.
Okay, so you're going to look out at the water?
Yeah, the siren snakes.
So as you look out at the water, you also... you've been on deck for a while, but when you look out on the water, you see the slithering on the surface, kind of the bulging of the water as vast shapes move beneath, and you also begin to hear. It sounds really loud.
Would I have any idea that they might be communicating with the thing in our own boat? Or would that be metagaming?
Feel free to make some sort of check for that.
I'll say Kalic is fascinated by this whole process of the sea and the boat and the sailing process, and yeah. He hasn't spent much time on the water.
Nilly's gonna seek out Elara, and she's going to get really close and whisper, "We are going to make a prayer to Lolth."
Should we do so with an unbeliever?
We are going to make a prayer to Lolth. It is customary. This is how I would like to do it.
Oh my god, you're going to have like a spiritual.
I'm going to stand at the top of the stairs, and I'm going to recite the poem. Every paragraph that I recite, I would like you to repeat them at the bottom of the stairs.
This is awesome.
Okay.
This is scary. Oh my god.
Just stand there, face me, raise your hands in the air, make it look like you're making a prayer, okay?
Okay. Can I whip something?
Don't have to be great. It's fine.
Okay.
It'll...
I got it.
The wrath
I can
of
deceive.
Lolth. Okay.
Okay, so, hold on, I'm not... Oh, wait, I pressed the wrong thing. I didn't mean to press Dissonant Whispers. I'm not Dissonant Whispering, okay. Nilly is... When Alara's waiting at the bottom of the stairs for her, in a space... Because I'm thinking at the second level, the person at the bottom should be able to hear if she's loud enough. If she can't hear me. Nilly is going to cast an enthralling performance. And she is going to recite a, hymn prayer that she must... That, I just kind of just pulled out of my head. And, she's
Just
going to...
made it up.
She's going to recite it in Elvish. But she's going to say Lolth in the common tongue so everyone can hear the name Lolth.
Okay.
And as she does it, instead of turning into her, like a fantastical fey creature, instead I want veins of webs to start to form on her face and on her arms, like she is becoming almost like spider webs are coming out of her flesh. Oh wow, that is it pops weird. There you go, guys.
Wow.
Have it.
Oh, no. Don't put it in chat.
No, you have to recite that. Go.
Heck no.
Oh, he's sideways.
Do it.
Get up
Do
on the
it.
The two of you
Go.
need to do this together.
Okay.
Like,
So,
literally, like, make a spectacle of this.
Yeah, do this. This is great.
Wait, Shane. Shane,
Yeah.
can you play that?
Oh yeah, here it comes.
Song?
The funky music.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Hold on. We are almost there.
Okay.
All right.
Recycle your camera, Bree.
Begin.
Wait, I lost my camera. Hold on, let me get my camera ready. People have to see me. I didn't even close it out that time. I just opened up the other thing. Okay. I'm sweating because I just came up with this while I was sitting on the ground. Well, Travis was doing his Travis shit. Okay. So, Nilly raises her hand, and in Elvish, because I'm not going to pretend this is Elvish, she says, "The arachnids see us move in fear." Come on, Danny, you're playing with me.
You gotta,
all right.
Nilly, you gotta put some oomph on this.
Yes, let's see a performance, ladies. I'm even going to restart this song. Here we go.
Shake it out.
And Bree runs away.
Getting props.
And she runs away.
Oh no, where's she gone?
She's getting props, I swear.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
This is going to be a memorable moment, I can tell.
This is gonna be something. I can't wait for it.
Oh jeez.
I've got to...
No, it's fine. I have a scarf that's covered in bugs, and I felt like I wanted to wear it over my head.
I think that sounds fantastic. There we go. Tell me when you're ready for your music.
I'm ready.
She's ready for
But
her
she even
close-up
looks like a little
bill.
prophet.
The arachnids see us move in fear.
The arachnids see us move in fear.
And watch us folly and fall.
And watch us folly and fall.
Blessed be we who have our Lolth,
Blessed be we who have our Lolth,
who knows and sees us all.
who knows and sees us all.
We bathe in love of our great queen.
We bathe in love of our great queen.
We bow before her grace.
We bow before her grace.
The goddess knows all of our hearts.
The goddess knows all of our hearts.
Through our powerful race.
Through our powerful race.
Like a child of stolen parents.
like a child of stolen parents.
We look to her with hope.
We look to her with hope.
She leads us on the righteous path.
She leads us on the righteous path.
In our people's scope.
In our people's scope.
We will free thee through it all.
We will free thee through it all.
With death in this volatile sea.
With death in this volatile sea.
When our pain sinks to the bottom.
When our pain sinks to the bottom.
Shattering our plans to be.
Shattering our plans to be.
The last night of our misery.
The last night of our misery.
We will let you swim in love.
We will let you swim in love.
You escape the fate of all.
You've escaped the fate of all.
With lost love from above.
With lost love from above.
Heed my words, my child.
Heed my words, my child.
Louisa will be known.
Louisa will be known.
Trust Lolth's word and wisdom.
Trust Lolth's word and wisdom.
The true path will be shown.
The true path will be shown.
Okay, that's it, guys.
That's good.
Fantastic. So, at the beginning of your speech, the squealing goblin stopped squealing, and everyone slowly turned to you. You had certainly the full attention of Gut, who's piloting the ship, looking down at you. And at some point during this incantation, all of the humanoids at the end of the boat stand up, and they look at each other, and they don't really know what to do. And at some point, Black Tongue just goes, "Ugh," and stomps and puts his big black fist up in the air, and then all of the other ones just kind of look at each other and put their fists up in the air. Mostly they just feel terrified. They look terrified. Black Tongue, loving it. He may not have any idea what you were saying, but he's like, and then there's a moment of silence when you're done, and Black Tongue goes, and then turns and sits back down, rights the pot, and starts fishing out little mice. The rest of them sit down, and you hear a voice from behind you. It's Gut. Your devotion to your goddess is eloquent and moving. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. I bow to you.
As the webs slowly start to fade from her flesh, and she returns to more of her appropriate color of grayish blue, and not the other form of grayish blue that it was. She just smiles, like a side head, not a nod, kind of just a, "I respect what you have said." She goes, "I tire. Sister, please come with me to the cabin." The thing. I've run out of good words to say.
You don't need any good words till Wednesday, so that's good.
From the railing, Kalic speaks up. "Don't be long, ladies. I'm not paying you to pray."
So at this point, I want to ask, who has looked out at the water? So at this point, it's Merrick and Kalic. Okay.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, technically Luciano has constantly been looking out of the water because he's been spending most of his time looking out the back of the ship.
You didn't notice this until this morning when you came out on deck.
Well, he's back into cabins.
So if you're looking outside, okay. So if you're just you were doing a drive-by and caught it with passive perception. If you're out there looking at it, then Kalic and Merrick and Luciano, this is what you see. It seems like there are certainly waves and even a few little white caps in the water, but it seems like the water itself is twisting and squirming and slithering. And every once in a while, you'll see the backbone of some sort of vast shape breach the surface of the water and go back down. And maybe every once in a while, you'll see a flipper of a tentacle breach the water and go back down. But whatever these things are, they're everywhere. Like you can look way out over the waters. As far as your eye can see, you see these slitherings in the sea. And all of you hear this, and it seems deafening. It seems like it just gets louder and louder.
I'm going to walk over to Kalic,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say the same things down below. Did I ever roll that? Did I ever need to roll that thing to figure out that they're communicating? Because I'm pretty sure I know that. I mean, I know out of character I know that. I'm not sure if I know in character.
So I would do a perception check.
Okay. Perception. Blah, 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 blah. Perception. Okay, I do not know.
You're not sure what... Yeah, you're not sure what's going on here.
But it's the same thing down below in the ship.
You do believe that it's very similar to the creature, if not the same sort of creature that you saw down in the bottom of the ship.
Well,
that much is
I
obvious.
saw the same scales. You described the same scales.
Yep. So you're telling this to Kalic, is that right?
Yes.
So what did you tell him? Did you already tell him?
Yeah, I said we had the same creatures down the bottom of the ship. Something in our ship. I don't know.
Kalic doesn't respond. He's staring out at the water. He's fascinated, but in his core, he's like deeply afraid.
You hear
stand too close to the edge.
You both hear a voice from behind you. Oh, you needn't worry. They're quite harmless. They are the slitherers, the squirmers, we call them. They populate the waters overwhelmingly. They're everywhere. We actually have one aboard. It's what lets it lets them know that this is a friendly ship. Were you to go through these waters without a slitherer or squirmer aboard, they would swamp your ship, take you down into the depths. It's a wonderful system, although it can be quite unnerving. They mess with your mind. They have a strange mental perception. You hear them, don't you?
I just scowl at him.
Well, I know you do. They are maddening, but the solution is simple. Don't look at them. You don't look at them, you don't hear them. Because you don't hear them with your ears. You hear them in your mind.
At that, Kalic looks to the deck. He looks away from the water.
So you hear... And then after a moment, and now that he said that, you do notice for the first time, yeah, I'm not hearing this with my ears. But you don't hear the sound again.
Kalic reaches into his pouch and grabs another coin and flips it up toward Good.
Why, thank you.
That little tip was worth the coin. Thank you.
I am quite grateful. You will find me an excellent guide of these waters. I have made this passage thousands of times. a number of disturbing things along the way.
What else might we encounter?
I trust we won't encounter anything, but there are certainly sights. He has finished telling you about the Slitherers, and he was telling you about other things that you might see on the passage. He mentioned, I don't know when it cut out, but he mentioned that somewhere along the way, there's an island that's populated solely by ghosts. When you go by in the nighttime, you can see them glow and flit about. There's another island upon which lives a massive green dragon. He leaves us alone, but when he flies overhead, it is a sight that will send a chill down your spine. And there's an old shrine that will be passing any moment. You see, and he points up ahead, you see how the coastline is coming back into view. An old shrine sits atop those cliff tops, and sometimes there's a signal fire. And I don't know why. I've never seen any people up there, any creatures. It is a mystery to me. I look forward to being your guide. It will be a wonderful trip. And at that, we're going to hop down just a little bit, just down to the, I assume, ladies, you are going down to the lower deck?
When there's, if there's no one around, yeah, we can sneak down to that lower deck.
Yeah. Well, there is no one around, and you can sneak down to the lower deck. And as you descend the stairs, her hair, she's still sitting in the same place. Her hair is down in front of her face, and then she pops her head up to look at you as you come up down the stairs, and she says, "Do you hear that?"
Do we hear what?
That sound. It's maddening. And that thing down below, it won't let me sleep. I wake up and I feel tentacles all over me, and as soon as I open my eyes, it's gone.
Nilly's gonna kind of stand about 5 feet in front of her, and she's gonna go look around a little bit, kind of like wiggle her fingers around, and she's trying to think of how she's gonna do this. She's gonna say, "Kiko? Hey, Kiko." She's gonna wait.
She's just looking around, sort of frantically, and looks at you. Yes. What? And Elara, you feel something. Like on the pouch on your hip, you feel something buzzing in the pouch.
Okay. I'm gonna lift up my pouch and take a peek in.
Inside, you see the little green bottle that has been filled with kind of this luminous glow, the phylactery from the harvester. You see that it's kind of just lying there in your pouch, vibrating. And you start to see in the green glow a swirling black begin to emerge, and it begins vibrating more and more frantically. And all around you, now Nilly and Kazette and Elara, you hear the water below you begin to roil and surge. And then finally the vial stops and glows more and more brightly green as black begins to swirl. And then it's black. It's not glowing anymore. And you remember the harvester's words as she talked about looking into the gem, looking down into oblivion, falling into empty nothingness, dying. And suddenly you're aware of movement around you. From the depths underneath you, tentacles begin to emerge from the gaps in the deck. And they're not coming for you, they just come up and they begin to slowly wave. And wave in the air, churning. But all you can seem to do is glance at them, because your eyes continue to get drawn back to it almost feels like black light coming from the phylactery. And then all around you, the tentacles are waving and churning. And Cosette has her back pressed up against the mast, going, see, it's just like I told you. And thus ends episode 6
Damn.
of Return to Greyhawk. Whoo! What an eventful night! Dag!
Wow.
That was nuts.
Good grief. If anybody lasted through this night watching us on Twitch,
I love you.
really appreciate your patience on all this crazy technical stuff. Good grief. Wow.
Worth it!
Yeah. So that's it for us tonight. If you liked it, please do make sure that you follow us. If you really liked it, go to our YouTube channel and follow us there, because if we get 50 followers, we actually get a URL that makes sense. So that's awesome.
Subscribe.
And feel free to tell your friends. But for now, we are out. It has been fantastic, and we will turn once again to the Bards of Greyhawk to take us out. If I can scroll down that far, why can't I go?
Drink to a safe journey all the way to Dorakka.
Oh well, I can't scroll down that far for reasons unknown. So, you guys have a nice night. We're out. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Night.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Adios.